are finally done with Madoka May, and we just watched Rebellion, the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did we?
No.
Okay,
Podcast
well, bye
over.
guys.
Oh, fuck, we forgot to watch the movie before we started recording.
Shit. Make it up,
We'll
make
be
it
back
up.
in 2
No,
hours.
make it up as you go. We have a deadline. Make it up as you
Okay,
go. Come on.
No,
Madoka turns into, like, a Godzilla-type figure, and Kyubey is like, no! And, like, all the Kyubeis come together and form, like, a Kyubey Voltron, and, like, they have a massive punch-out. And then Homer is like, nah, Madoka! And, like, stops her and is like, no, I love you. And then Homura and Godzilla Madoka kiss, and that's the end.
Yeah, that is.
and then Kyubey...
Wait, you
Sayaka and
miss,
Kyoko
I was gonna say,
get
you missed the
married.
part where Sayaka and Kyoko make out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In the background, while this is all going on, you can kind of see, like, in the distance, like, Sayaka and Kyoko just making out.
Yeah.
And Mommy's there drinking tea.
Yeah.
It's the after
Patting
credits
them.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Like,
there we go.
It's perfect.
Okay, podcast over. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, now we're back. We just finished watching the movie. For real.
Oh,
Oh,
shit,
God,
wow.
I'm so depressed.
Wow.
So yeah, anyway. Anything they or wait, I guess we should go into summary first, right?
Well, before we go into summary,
Mm-hmm.
Dear, do you want to bring anything up?
So we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. Me having seen Rebellion, I realized very quickly that Gamb and Spooky are probably going to be the ones to want to gush quite a bit more about it. So I decided to just, take a step back for this one and just let them gush, because I'd rather hear them gush. I love hearing my friends gush. It's great. It's amazing. I love it. Because otherwise I'm just going to be like, yeah, yeah, exactly what you said. So I'm probably just going to take a step back for this podcast and just be doing other stuff. And I'll come back at the end. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Is there anything you want to say, though, before you do go off?
Maguka pretty.
Mention lesbians or...
Maguka pretty. They're so fucking gay! They're so gay!
I'm sorry if I couldn't clean that up.
They're so
they are
gay! Everyone in this is so gay! Mommy deserves someone to be gay with.
Me.
Yes,
I solved all
okay.
the problems.
Okay, we're done. That's all I have to say, is that everyone's so gay and I love it. That's it. That's all I got.
What about
Alright.
Kyosuke and Hitomi, though, dear?
I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
Bye.
Well, there goes dear. Dear caught sight of a het and couldn't stand it. Okay.
Okay.
Forewarning, I have 7... No, wait, sorry, I forgot about adding, like, the post-credit stuff. I have 8 pages of notes now.
What's the longest number of pages of notes that you've had prior to this?
The finale of Madoka?
But how do you remember how many there were?
I can check right now. Hang on, give me 1 second.
I want to say 4.5 is what you said.
Oh god, the bar is... Nope, 3.5.
3? Oh
this-
my god.
And this one I have, like, 7.25.
Yeah, I remember when we did the 3.5, you were like, oh my god, I have 3.5 pages of notes.
Yeah,
So
how many did I have in the very first Madoka page? Let's check real quick. I had, 3 and a tiny bit pages.
Okay.
This is... So... Okay. I need to preface everything I'm about to say with... I need to put this all in context. So, initially, we went to record this on our normal day that we do. We got halfway through the movie, and then my power cut out.
Australia
It wasn't-
died.
It wasn't just my power, because I went outside to try and fix it. It was the power in my street, and it turns out it was, like, power for a shit ton of people in a 120-kilometer distance. Like, a coal fire station apparently had a fire and exploded, and it's fine now, I have my power, but we had to stop recording. We managed to salvage it, and I mention it in the commentary where I stitch it together, but my power cut off at the absolute worst moment for me personally.
Yes, it was like right before. I mean, it's the worst moment in the movie for it to cut out. I literally told my friend, I was messaging him, and I was like, Gamb's power just cut out in the scene directly before the flower field scene, and he was like, holy fuck, that is literally the worst time. And I was like, I know!
Yes. So I say why it's the worst is because this is one of those movies where it is very much the entire first half is essentially roughly the entire first half is like the first act, and it's very slow building. It makes sure to build everything slowly and establish things and reestablish things and
so that it can
put
erupt.
you in a state of unease. And I was talking to Spooky about it because as we were watching it the first time, I'm like, I really don't like this, because like as we were watching things, I was going, this feels like really slow, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Can we move on to like things actually happening? And I was like, no, I need to give it benefit of the doubt, because it's like, I trust the writers, and also it's like this because it's been some time when the movie came out since the series finished, and like anything new Madoka actually came out, because movies 1 and 2 are basically just recaps of the series, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So it's like anything post-series story-wise has actually come out, so it's like the first act and first half revel in that, and they challenge it. They are expecting the audience to have gone into this movie having a long gap since finishing the series, or, you know, some type of gap. But because for me, it's only been like a week, I'm like, this is all still fresh in my mind of experiencing it for the first time. So I'm like, we don't need to establish this. Like, we can just go.
I want to say, when I saw the movie in theaters, it's exactly exactly what happened. I hadn't watched Magica, like, in a minute. I think I might have rewatched it before the movie. I don't remember. It's been a while. But my reaction was the same thing that you went through, but I couldn't say that while we were watching. Me and my friend sat down, we went, boy, hope this isn't a fucking cash grab with just some fucking cute shit in it. And then it started, and we were watching, we were like, what the fuck is this? And then the cake scene happened, and we were like, the fuck are we watching? And we were like, god damn it. And then shit started happening, and then we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, the way I'm setting all this up before we get started, because things happen very fast once it hits a specific moment.
Yes.
Because like the first half is very, very slow and goes. It almost drags, but it's on purpose and isn't like a detriment to the film. Because that's why when I was like talking about it with Spooky, I was like, it's dragging to me with like only seeing the first half of this movie, and it was really annoying me that it cut out there, because it was like, I trust these writers and this director to not be just fan service cash grab, because like the first hour it was like I was holding, like, Spooky and Deer were like enjoying it, going, oh, this is so good, like people were waiting for this, and I'm just sitting there like, this is really disappointing.
Yeah, I couldn't like, say, like, without giving anything away, because you knew I liked the movie a lot, so I couldn't be I felt the same way. Like,
there was, like, while we were watching it, and just before my power cut out, there was, like, a moment where I was like, is Spooky, like, fucking with me? Like,
no.
Has Spooky been, like, lying this whole time about actually liking this movie just to sort of fuck with me? And, like, Spooky actually doesn't like this movie because, like, I know how Spooky thinks about Madoka, and it's like, right now, Spooky should be thinking nearly identically to what I'm thinking about, this is pointless right now.
I think in the past I have mentioned, and this is a hot take, but Rebellion's my favorite part of the franchise. I like Rebellion more than I like main series. It took me a while to reach that point. I didn't come to that realization until probably last year, and Rebellion came out in 2013, so I've seen it a lot since then. And
I feel like I would need to watch Rebellion at least 1 or 2 more times to fully, like, now that, like, it's complete in my mind, and, like, okay, I feel safe in how I actually feel about it, because it's like, it's all over. Like, I no longer have to worry about, oh god, are they gonna fail with this, are they gonna fuck up with that?
Yeah.
Like, it's all there in my head, so it's like, if I watch it again through that context, it'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
this is how I actually feel about it, because, like, I don't know if I agree with you on that, but it's purely just because I haven't experienced Rebellion enough.
Yeah. I didn't, like I said, I saw the movie in 2013, and I was talking to my friend who he and I share, like, the exact same viewpoints on, like, all anime ever. And Madoka's his favorite show, too. And I was talking to him about it, like, just a year or two ago. And we kept talking about Rebellion, we kept bringing it up, and, like, we were just messaging each other, like, reminiscing on Rebellion and shit. And then there was one point where, I went, or he went, is Rebellion the best part of Madoka? And then I was like, I was just thinking that, and we kind of came to the realization, like, no, yeah, this is our favorite part of Madoka, like, it's Rebellion, it's, like, that's what we like the most. But anyway, I guess we should get into.
Okay, so now that I've put that all in context, summary? I want you to just know, Spooky, because I found specifically, because I was, like, trying to search in my notes where things start to change. So the entire first half of the movie fits into 2.5 pages.
Yeah.
The rest is the second half.
Yeah.
And, like, I was rushing to write things at some point, because, like, I was, like, so much was happening, and it's like, oh god, trying to write all this down so I don't forget it is a nightmare.
So do you just want to start and discuss as we go, or do you want to do our normal thing where it's, like, summary and then discussion?
I feel like because this is such a behemoth, we're gonna have to discuss and
summarize
and sort of analyze
time.
as we go, okay. So long as, like, what we talk about and analyze with it doesn't spoil what happens further in the movie. Like, only sort of talk about and reflect on things that have happened as I say it.
Oh god, this is gonna be really hard. Okay.
It's gonna be really hard, but we can do it.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh god, just thinking about the very first scene now. It's reincorporation. Okay, so... Jesus fucking Christ.
This is gonna be so fucking hard. Okay, bear with us. If something accidentally slips, we apologize.
we can sincerely apologize. Honestly, I wouldn't really say this for anything else. One thing that I will definitely say is, if you're not the kind of person that listens to the commentaries, you need to listen to this one, purely because, like, we are gonna go back and forth on some things here, and we may accidentally spoil things that happen further in the series, in the movie, than we've explained up to that point. So it may be a lot of symbolic shit and, like, metaphorical shit happens in this movie.
Yeah.
And, it, like, completely abstract, and it might go over your head, or, like, be completely unintelligible if you haven't actually watched it yourself. So I highly recommend pausing this now and listening to the commentary and watching the movie, or just watching the movie. You don't have to listen to us fuck around while we watch it.
If you watch the commentary, the first half is, you can hear me going feral over mommy and us talking a lot, and then once we reach the end, like, no one's saying anything because we can't make words happen.
The end is literally just, like, occasionally you'll hear us go, oh god, like, every now and then, just because, like, I know at some point I was like, I haven't said anything in, like, a minute, I need to say something.
Where it was just silent, and then Deer just went, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there was, like, nothing to say. I was trying to actively think of things to say, and I was like, there's nothing to say. So...
Yeah. Okay, so pause it now, and now we're gonna go into description.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, we start with a sequence of Homuro's soul gem spinning and drowning and falling into a dark abyss with bubbles of breath coming out of it as it's, like, very clearly falling and being covered, that sort of thing. And we cut to this sort of narration, I believe it's by Homura, I can't really remember, saying that, like, hey, essentially, magical girls pay a price, like, kind of reiterating, like, re-establishing, like, the whole cycle and the new lore of things, of, like, we all wait for that final day where the cycle comes to take us away, and we all just wait for it, because remember, in this new world, after the end of the series, Madoka's rebooted the universe in her image, and now, instead of magical girls turning into witches, they now are basically they just vanish and are taken away by Madoka and
Yeah.
don't fall into despair because, again, despair and hope are now two separate entities that cannot corrupt each other. And that's really important.
That's super
Remember
important.
that. It's so fucking important. Oh god, it's so important.
Yeah.
Okay, so she...
But you should clarify in this world, because something's already off from the get-go, right?
We're not finished with the narration yet, Spooky. Dear God.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. It's the next
We're not
scene.
finished
It's the next scene? Okay, go ahead.
Because Homura then says, like, this world is irredeemable still. Like, I still believe this world is irredeemable, but I hold on to that one day where I'll see her smile again.
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
smile again.
Yeah.
Sorry, not her smile.
Her
It's just
smile.
Kind of,
Yeah.
it's kind of obvious she's talking about Madoka.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Homura is number one Madoka simp.
Yes. Yeah, Homura tier 3
Okay.
subs.
So, we cut from that instantly to the city.
Yeah.
And everything's back to normal, and okay, we see like a sort of stop motion bear in a labyrinth type thing, and it's like, okay, this seems to be like a type of deal of what's going on. This seems to be like the quote unquote enemy or like new type of witch or whatever it is. And it's sort of running around causing a bit of a muck, and then, oh hey, wait, what the fuck? That's Madoka. What's Madoka doing here? Madoka's not a person anymore. Madoka's God, but Madoka's a person in this, and now Madoka's fighting this bear puppet thing, and then suddenly Sayaka shows up, and Kyoko shows up, and it's like, what's going on? Like, this is, like, okay, Madoka showing up, maybe it's like an alternate timeline or something, because Madoka's a magical girl, and it's like, but then Sayaka shows up, and it's like, okay, what's going on? And then Kyoko shows up, and it's like, something's really wrong. And it's like, okay, I'm really confused. And we have this massive sequence of them sort of talking through it and sort of going like, this is a new nightmare for us to fight. Like, instead of witches, it's nightmares.
Yeah, instead of wraiths, it's nightmares.
Instead of wraiths as well, it's nightmares.
Also, when you were watching and they were calling them nightmares, were you like, yo, what
I'll
the
be
fuck?
honest,
Or did you not even, like, realize?
Here's the thing. If I wasn't kind of checked out after that first fight, it would have registered with me and been like, oh, wait, I think I know what's going on here. But because that first half, I was, like, kind of checked out, because I was like, this is weirdly disappointing. Like, this isn't the type of writing I was expecting from, like, the people who wrote Madoka Magica. Like, like, it feels like there's so much irrelevant shit going on in like the writing right now.
That Madoka got us. It got us twice, because the beginning of the series of Madoka, you're like, oh, okay, magical girl shit, episode 3, boom, and in the movie they get you again, and it's like, how the fuck did they
get you again
twice?
with it perfectly?
Yeah.
So okay,
but yeah, so I didn't realize. I didn't even catch that nightmares were, like, a thing. I, like, didn't even question it. So anyway, continue.
I was mainly confused, because I was like, are they wraiths? Like, they're calling them nightmares, though.
Yeah.
What is, like,
So it's like
I didn't start to, like, analyze it and be like, wait, why are they calling them nightmares? And sort of click with me of, like, oh, maybe this is going on. Until, like, basically until you just mentioned it then, because I had not cared to actually think about it in my mind, because the first half of this movie completely set me up to be blindsided.
In the movie, they bring it up.
Oh, do they? I must have missed it, because I must have been writing notes furiously.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly the scene it was in. Yeah, it was. I was writing so many notes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Anyway.
They're fighting this nightmare. They're going through. They seem to be... They know each other a lot, so it's like, okay, they are very familiar with each other. This is not the world that we know. Something's up. It's a nice, beautiful sequence of them going through and fighting it, and then a lot of very visual, striking images of this sort of bear thing going through doors, and then it suddenly sees some sweets, so it sits down at a chair. Then Madoka opens the door behind it and comes behind it and sort of just like sits near it and like comforts it and feeds it these sweets. And so do Sayaka and Kyoko, and it's like, okay, this is weird. And then it gets even weirder because fucking Mami shows up. And it's like, okay, something's really wrong. And not just Mami, because Mami also has a little creature with her.
Charlotte
and
from the series.
Charlotte.
The witch.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Which they call Bebe. And I saw it, and my first reaction was, why is the witch that killed Mommy her pet now?
Yep.
Because it's literally the witch that killed Mommy.
Yep. It's the baby.
And it's like, they don't mention it. They don't say anything about it in that moment. They don't say anything about it. It's just like, this is a thing that has always existed with them. And it's like, something is really wrong with this world.
Can I also just
something
say...
is really twisted.
Tee-hee-hee, their names, Mommy and Baby.
Yes. Yes, you can laugh about that.
It's cute. Okay, anyway.
So, Mommy gives the little bear some explosive tea, and, it's good tea, I guess, but it explodes, and then, cut to white, Madoka wakes up, and Kyubei's living with her. And then we get a sequence that is all basically shot for shot, word for word, almost, a remake of Madoka's beginning in the first episode of the series.
Yeah.
Madoka wakes up, goes to say hi to her dad, who's cutting tomatoes. He's like, go wake up your mum. She goes to wake up her mum, and her little brother's trying to wake her up and is failing. She wakes her mum up, and then they eat breakfast, and then Madoka and her mum have that moment in the bathroom, but Madoka is more confident, more switched on. This isn't the Madoka from the very first episode. This is a different Madoka. Something is different about her. She's more full. She's more of herself. She's more self-determined. Something is completely different here. And it's like, okay, this is off. And then she goes off to walk with her friends towards school, but instead of Hitomi and Sayaka, it's Sayaka and Kyoko. And they're being adorable lesbians.
Yeah, they live together now.
And they live together. And it's like, oh god, sorry, I'm just thinking about further in the movie and nearly crying again. They live together and they're like bickering like a couple. Like Sayaka being like, I don't want to do this thing with you, Kyoko, and Kyoko's like, well, I didn't know you'd grown to stop being so reckless, Sayaka. Like, sort of like lightly teasing each other because they love each other so much and know like how to push their buttons in a lovingly annoying way. And they sort of like run around Madoka as Madoka's just like, haha, like everything's great, everything's normal, let's go to school. And cut to school, where teacher is no longer drunk. She's now just obsessed with the end of the world, because she's saying, hey, when did this movie come out, by the way? 2013?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's why. Because she says, hey, the Mayan calendar 2012 thing may have passed, but hey, there's so many predicted apocalypses. Like, hey, says, by 2050, you, kid in the front, what is predicted to happen by 2050? And the kid's like, ma'am, I don't know, like, you're the teacher, teach us things. And she goes, that's right, we're probably all gonna die because it's the second coming of Christ as told by the book of Revelations. And goes off into this sort of little diatribe about it. It's like, haha, okay, you're setting something up here, I'm scared. Foreshadowing. And basically, she just goes off on this rant and bends herself over backwards, talking about it, and then sits up straight, and I sort of go, do you want a drink, ma'am? She's like, oh, that's right, we have a new transfer student. Hey, everyone, welcome, Homoraint. And Homoraint walks in, and for those who don't know, if you skipped the final episodes of Madoka, what everyone calls, like, the nerdy Moe Homura, I'm jokingly calling Homoraint, because that ain't Homura. I'm not calling... What did you call her? Moe Mora?
That's what most people call her, and Gamb's a rebel.
That's dumb.
So...
It's Homoraint. And she's like, hey, welcome, Homoraint. She's got a pigtail, she's got her glasses, she's a nerd, but she seems confident. She doesn't seem that sort of, like, awkward nerdiness that she was when we saw her in the flashback. And they're like, hey, she's here because she was in the hospital for a long time because she had a bad fucking heart. She had a case of heartbreak. And she's like, hi, everybody, and, like, flashes her ring that reveals that she's a magical girl. And everyone's like, wait, she's a magical girl? What the fuck? And they sort of cut from that to Madoka and Homura talking, and Madoka's. It's very clear that like some time has passed between this, because the way they're talking seems like this isn't their first conversation. They've had several between this. So it's
a month has passed.
Yeah.
Also, you forgot to mention
okay.
that Mommy introduces Homura to everybody and is like, they're like,
Yeah.
Mommy, you knew about her? And she's like, I wanted to keep it a surprise. And like her and Homura on like great terms.
Mommy is like the perfect leader mother figure of like, I wanted to keep it a surprise. I wanted to give you guys a surprise, like sort of thing. And it's like, oh god, Mommy is such a good leader.
Mommy and Homura on good terms is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like another everything that's happened like in this is like another bit of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Madoka Magica. What is this? And we continue with the conversation that they're having, and Madoka holds Homura's hands and instantly makes her a lesbian. And Madoka's just basically just goes like, hey, I wanted to talk to you, Homura, because I'm gay for you. Mwah. No.
Yeah.
She's more just like, hey, I just wanted to talk to you because I feel like we've really developed our like friendship over the line. I wanted to like appreciate that and like get to know you a bit more, sort of thing.
She was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I've been wanting to sit here and talk to you for a long time.
I just wanted to sit here and talk with you. We cut to Hitomi.
I should clarify, I can like legitimately just quote large scenes of this film, so if I like butt in and do that, it's because I'm
glad you do, because there are some aspects of this. There is so much that happens in this movie. There is like some parts where I don't actually remember what's said.
Oh yeah,
so
no, I can quote a lot of this film from memory. So let's go.
So we cut to Hitomi, who's very rich, but not rich enough to afford more than one pillow. She's sitting on her bed that is in the center of a room. And she's like, man, I'm lonely. I'm gonna call up my boy toy and try and like hang out with him. And she calls up Kyosuke and he's like, hey, it's great that you want to hang, but like I gotta practice my violin.
And Hitomi goes,
so
I love that about you. I love that you constantly ignore me and dedicate yourself 100% to your hobby. I love it.
Yeah,
and Kyosuke
she's
goes
just like, oh, I love that about you.
And
it's
Kyosuke,
like, oh, sweetie.
Yeah, and Kyosuke goes, thanks.
Yeah, Kyosuke basically just goes, oh, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Phew. I was worried you didn't love me there for a second, because all that matters is that you love me. Like, you're fine. I don't have to worry about, like, loving you. All that matters is you love me, kind of thing. The standard shit that a heterosexual man will constantly do. Not just heterosexual men, but mainly heterosexual men. Shitty people. And so Hitomi's like, man, I love him, but like I'm so lonely, and I just wish that like,
yeah, she's literally
I wish I could just spend time with him.
She's literally like, I love that he does that, but can't he make a fucking minute for me? And she starts like kicking her one pillow, and it's like, Hitomi, you only have one of those. Be careful with it.
and then it turns into Deathbed, a movie from I believe 1977, because Hitomi falls through her bed and falls into this deep pit of not despair, but despair-like, because the negative emotions and desires of her form this nightmare of depression, essentially, and forms a new beast bear nightmare thing. And it's like, oh no, Hitomi! Oh no, everyone really cared about Hitomi.
I was like, oh darn. I really hope Hitomi doesn't die.
It's the best way they could have incorporated her into this without, like, completely ignoring her existence or making... The worst thing they could have done was been like, hey, okay, everything's magically fixed and now it's this new universe and now Hitomi's a magical girl too!
God,
and
it's a worry that I have. But anyway.
It's big worry, big fear. No, Hitomi is not meant to be a magical girl. She is the anchor for this world of humanity. Don't do that. Okay, so she falls, and we cut to Spooky's favorite scene in the movie. Mummy is sitting in a room in a bath towel, brushing her hair, and then Bebe is just like, oh, there's a new nightmare. A new nightmare's appeared. We gotta go fight a new nightmare. And Mommy's just like, oh, I better go, because, like, they won't be able to focus without me.
And we see how Mommy does her hair, which is she snaps her fingers and uses magic.
Yeah. Isn't she perfect?
And then she takes off her towel.
And then she takes off her towel, and the screen transitions
Yeah.
to Kyoko and Sayaka arriving, and sort of assessing the situation, being like, "Oh man, damn, Hitomi's turned into that." Like, man, like, Kyoko kind of tries to tease Sayaka in a way, being like, "Man, like, well, what must that dude have done to her? Like, man, like, you fucking fell for that dude too." And then Sayaka, in the subtitles that we watched, essentially was like, it's fine. Like, I don't kind of care
Sayaka's
anymore.
the one that rips on Kyosuke, not Kyoko.
Kyoko rips on Sayaka, and then Sayaka rips on Kyosuke, because Kyoko's like, what did that dude do to her? And then Sayaka's like, yeah, he's pretty fucking pathetic.
Because
like,
it goes Kyoko going, "Oh, is that Hitomi's nightmare?" And then Sayaka's like, "What else do you expect? She decided to date Captain Oblivious over here."
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's it.
and then Kyoko's like, didn't she? Sounds like somebody changed their mind a little bit there, and Sayaka's like, "I moved on." And it's like, fuck yeah.
It's like this framing of like, hey, for those who haven't fucking got it, Sayaka is lesbian with Kyoko.
Sayaka's canon bisexual representation, and I love her.
Yep. I love her so much, especially in this movie. Dear God, in this movie, I love Sayaka.
Oh, yeah.
So, we'll get to it, though. We'll get to it. Okay, so... Oh, God, I just thought about more that I want to say about it. We need to get to it first.
We need to go!
Okay,
Fast track this bitch.
A lot of this section, I'm going to gloss over, because at this point, specifically, I was like, okay, they're going to fight something again. Okay, we'll talk about the fucking... Don't worry, I'm not going to gloss over Cake Song.
I'll sing it.
So, we have this fight where all of the magical girls come together, even Homura is there too. Yeah, Homura is there, and they're, like, going around, like, the nightmare destroys a building, and then they put it back together, because Mommy's ribbons stitch it together, which Spooky fucking obliterated me from, like, sort of pointing out the fact of, like, it reflects Mommy's wish of wanting to basically come back to life, of like the fact that Mommy's ribbons are frequently used to like hold things in place and like pull them back together.
Yeah,
it's like, oh god, I didn't even think
shit,
about that. That's such a good fucking like visual representation of it. Which is why Madoka's so good, because everything has a point and feeds into everything else. It's like everything is so thought out. I love it. What I don't love is this fight, because a lot of boring nothingness kind of happens. All that really happens is like a fight happens, and there's a lot of really beautiful visuals of magical girls working together, but it doesn't...
I get to... Listen, don't shit on it. I get to see Mommy be the leader. She's always...
That's the only point of this fight, which is my one criticism, but it's not really a criticism because there is a point to it. It's just a personal thing, again, because as I set up with the framing that I did, it's purely because I've watched the series last week. So it's like, in my mind, I don't need to see them fighting together and like seeing Mommy as a leader. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But like in this story, the only purpose it really serves is to let the audience who haven't seen Madoka in a while revel in, hey, this is what they look like when they're actually fighting together as a team. Like, didn't you wish you could see more of this? Like, or see this at all, considering they're never a full team in the series?
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the one part where Gamb and I are going to disagree heavily, because I think that this is extremely important regardless of when you've seen it, because it sets up the norm for the world, and it sets up like what the fuck is going on, but it also sets up the normalcy of it all, right? And it makes it seem
the way
like
I
it's
sort of discussed it with Spooky was like, the only reason I disagree with Spooky is I don't disagree on a level of objectivity of like me saying, no, they shouldn't have done it this way. I think they should have done it this way, but purely because I watched Madoka so recently, in my mind, I don't need this refresher. I don't need them doing this, because like in my mind, it's like I saw that first fight with them and I was like, okay, I get it. I know what's going on. Something's up. They're fighting together. I see how well they work together as a team. Mami is a leader. Like, I don't need to see any more. Like, it's done its job. The job of this fight is to establish that and reinforce it in the mind of the audience. And, like, personally, I don't need that anymore. But it's like, it's why I, disagree with Spooky, but also agree with Spooky about this. Because it's like, yeah, for an audience that hasn't seen anything Madoka in, 2 years, it's really important to have something like this.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think even without that, I think that taking this first half hour to set up the normalcy of this so that it can later be broken down is totally fine. Like I said, this is going to be the one point where we just disagree, and that's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
but
and I think my one thing is, when I say, take this fight out and things will be fine, I sort of more mean in a sense of, take it out, and then maybe you could, expand the first fight a little bit more, and then, maybe 2 minutes more in that very first fight, and then that's all you need to do. But, I don't actually want that. When I'm saying, right. You could just do this and it would be fine, I'm not saying it as, this is what I wanted in the movie, because, I actually love it the way it is. It's just, the reason I felt so disappointed in that first hour is because I was I got to this fight, and I'm I get what this fight is about, but,
it was more
nothing else is really there.
You had just got done watching the series, and you were ready for it to continue the same vibes. Right off the bat. So.
Yeah, and that was my thing. I was ready for it to continue the same shit, and it was no, they wanted to stop it in its tracks, remind everyone of what's going on, and establish a new normal, so they could then, go on to absolutely shatter it, and pun intended. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Basically, at the end of this fight, what happens is a table forms, and this bear gets shrunken down almost and put under a cake glass tin thing. I forget what they're professionally called.
Yeah, it's a display cake
and
display
then,
thing, I don't know. Anyway.
Probably the cutest and also my least favorite scene in the movie happens.
Cake,
where
cake,
the magical girls just start spinning around this table singing cake, cake. Who's the flavor of the cake? Is it Mami? No, I'm
the
cheese. And then it's is it Madoka? No, I'm the melon.
Which Madoka's lyrics are so good. It's I'm the melon, don't you see? When you slice the melon, it'll bring you sweet dreams.
Yep. And it's
I love it.
Okay.
Anyway.
It's okay, I get what they're going for, but it felt way too long. It was what is the point of this? Why, not just what is the point of this, it's okay, I get the point of it, but why is it so long? Because it went on for, a full, 1 or 2 minutes. It's it's adorable, but,
I love it, dude.
Madoka doesn't, everything that I've seen of Madoka, they don't stop everything to have a cute moment. If they have a cute moment, it's, it means something.
I just want to do a callback super quick to the series, because I've been waiting to talk about this fucking scene.
Oh, God.
I realized it the other day when I was watching it. So, in episode 3, before everything goes to fucking shit and Mami dies,
the cake?
In the perfect world, Madoka is I don't know what to wish for. I just want to be a magical girl. And Mami goes, why don't you wish for a feast? Or why don't we have a feast and you can wish for a really big cake?
Oh,
it's
okay.
a callback.
That's a really cute subtle callback that doesn't really mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, but it mirrors the first 3
It mirrors
episodes.
the first.
Yeah. That's right before shit starts going bad in the main series, and it mirrors that.
So, okay, the song ends and Bebe grows to be the monster witch from when they killed Mami.
Yeah.
And this cake grows massive, and Bebe consumes the entire cake. And out of the cake pops out Dusa from Hades. Oh god, what are you doing here? Just kidding, it's Hitomi's head. And she's still alive, don't worry, it's not a dead head.
It's her dream version.
Yeah,
thing. She's like
it's
a weird
her dream.
fish. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like a head... Okay, if you've ever watched the Scooby-Doo live-action movie, where the sort of spirits of people are just their heads, but they kind of look like sperm heads because they've got like white tails behind their heads. It's that. So it's a callback to the live action Scooby-Doo movie of 10 years prior, which is a really smart movie. So, Jesus fuck. So the cake gets destroyed, and Sayaka grabs Hitomi's head, and I'm so glad it's Sayaka.
Yeah.
It had to be Sayaka, but they grab Hitomi's head, and a piece of paper comes floating down with a violin drawn on it, which I'll mention real quick in the fight. Hitomi Nightmare Beast threw like a giant violin when it first formed and like tried to destroy the city with it.
Kyosuke plays the violin.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Spooky. Oh, so we have Sayaka grabs it and basically floats it away and turns it into a manifestation of like Kyosuke playing the violin, and basically says to Hitomi, "Be with him." Like freeze the dream Hitomi to essentially dream about being with Kyosuke, in a sense, like sort of reinforcing the fact that like, hey, these magical girls are kind of like dream eaters now. And yes, I've just made this about Kingdom Hearts, because what they do is they basically sweeten your nightmares to become dreams. That's what they're doing in this. Which, oh god, now I want to talk about something further in the movie, but I can't.
I know, I kind of want to just get through a summary as quickly as possible. So
we're nearly there. We're nearly at the highway.
Yeah.
So they sweeten these dreams and purify them like they purified soul gems in the past. Now they purified nightmares to be dreams.
Yeah, and now all of their soul gems become cleansed as when they finish something. So it's literally the perfect world. It's perfect. It's
literally the perfect world. Everything is fine. Everything is normal.
And then Homura goes.
And then Homura goes, "This is wrong."
Homura goes, "We're not allowed to be this happy."
Yep, we're not allowed to be this happy. This is wrong. Like, Homura starts to transition to Homura. Also, I completely forgot. We glossed over this because I just wanted to get through the fight as quick as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Each magical girl has a new transition.
Their transformations.
Like, we kind of talked about it in the commentary, but Spooky and I spoke about it more when we were just watching it again to catch up before we recorded the rest of the commentary. But the fact of each magical girl's transformation is not only unique in the way that they transform, but the dances that they do are so symbolic of the character they are. So like, you have Mami doing elegant ballet, you have Kyoko doing like freestyle rock headbanging type dancing, you have Sayaka break dancing and to this like absolute like graceful break dancing, which is such a weird way to phrase it.
Yeah, and then she runs track and literally runs into herself and comes into herself, and then
oh god, and that's something else we can't talk about that yet. We're nearly at that point. Because her running into herself also reflects the other part, which is about the reflection, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, Homura does interpretive dance, which is also really important for her character. And also
Homura's is the most boring because it's Homura, not Homura.
Yeah, but it is kind of important, like interpretive dance and shit. Also, the reach animation is used later in the movie. I don't know if you caught that from the transformation.
I didn't catch it, but there was only one scene in Homura's where I was like, man, this is absolutely beautiful, where Homura breaks through essentially this barrier and it turns into this sort of lattice pattern, and she reaches through to grab her soul gem or weapon or hands or something.
It doesn't show what she's reaching. It doesn't show.
Yeah. Okay, she's just reaching through. Well, we know what she's reaching for.
Yeah.
So hers is an interpretive dance, and then we cut to Madoka's, which is like an idol star dancing.
Yeah,
which,
and there's like hints of Goddess Madoka throughout it, which is really cool.
Yes,
anyway.
There's like hints of Godica. So anyway, after that fight's gone, now we can get to where the movie starts fucking hitting the rails. So Homura is essentially like, shit's fucked. This is wrong. Like, I remember her. Like, I remember, like,
witches
this
and
isn't
shit,
how the
yeah.
things are meant to be. And so she goes to talk to Kyoko, and she's like, hey, hey Kyoko, what do you think's going on? Like,
Yeah.
do you remember this? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
what
she
do you know
asked
about
Kyoko, like,
this?
when did you start going to Mitakihara's
Yeah,
middle school?
yeah,
And
sort of like
Kyoko's
questioning
like,
her memories.
Yeah, Kyoko's like, I don't know exactly when. Before you, probably about a year ago or something. And she's like, okay, and where were you living prior to this? And where were you living? And she's like, I'm crashing at Sayaka's place. And she's like, and where did you live before this? And she goes, Kazumino City. And Homura goes, cool. Can you take me there? And Kyoko's like, but why? And then she's like, just take me there. We can get food or something. And Kyoko's like, okay. So that's the...
Yeah, and Homura, like, at one point is kind of desperate enough. She's like, please, let's just go to the city.
Yeah.
Like, if it's the same, then everything's fine.
Yeah.
But if not, then you have to believe me that something is wrong.
Yeah.
And Kyoko's just like, okay, whatever.
She's like, fine, you treat me to ramen, and that's...
Yeah. And so we get to the first really abstract kind of part of the movie. They get on a bus to go to this other city, and oh boy, the landscape disappears around them and turns into a sort of not flat, but like a canvas type monotone color painting with highlights in it and windmills you can see as they're driving into nothingness essentially. And they're like, oh, hey, okay, this is our next stop. Like, here's the city. Like, it'll be the next stop. They hit the button to stop the bus.
And it says Mitakihara.
Yep, and then it says Mitakihara, next stop. And they're like, wait, what? And then they look out into the landscape and they see the city, which is visually represented by a shit ton of just rectangle windows.
Yeah, just like a giant fucking tower of them.
Yep, coming together, which, oh god, now that I've seen the rest of it, it's like, oh god, I know exactly what that means. But we'll get to it. We're nearly there. This tower of windows, and they drive, like, it doesn't look like a city at all. The only way you know it's a city is because they essentially point at it and go, wait, what are we doing? We're passing the city. Like, we're going into the city, sort of thing. And then the bus stops, they get off the bus, and they're back where they started. Mm-hmm. They're like, Kyoko's like, wait, what just happened? And Homer's like, oh no.
Let's make sure that we
like,
get
let's
on the
do that
correct
again.
Bus, yeah.
Let's make sure. And they're like, okay, we'll make sure we get off at the right stop. They're like, okay, push the button, that's our next stop, we'll stop there.
Mitakihara City.
Mitakihara. And it's like,
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Kyoko yells
and then
at the
Homer's
bus driver.
Yeah. Kyoko fucking chastises the bus driver by jumping on the hood and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you not know when to stop at a city when we tell you to stop? And the bus driver is not a person. They are a bus driver in a sense of they are an extension of the bus. They don't really exist. They don't acknowledge Kyoko's existence.
Yeah.
They just drive the bus. That's all they do.
Did we mention that all of the people at this point have, like, blotched out, painted-looking faces?
No, we didn't. But
okay.
It's a good point to bring it in, because especially with what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But at some point, so in the beginning of the movie, you start with Madoka's focus, and as things progress very slowly, now we've transitioned to Homura's perspective.
Yeah, Homura's the protagonist of the movie.
Yes, and well,
protagonist.
God damn it, I can't make that joke yet.
Protagonist of the movie. We'll get into
protagonist
the other
of the
role
movie
later.
So a real easy way to see that we've transitioned to Homura's perspective is that when you see all the extras essentially in the world, they no longer have faces. They have blotched out homogeneous faces of, like, there's eyes, but the rest of it is just this swirl of nothingness.
Which at this point is just like it's like a metaphorical thing. But then you find out later it's not just a metaphorical thing. It's both.
It's like a very good visual metaphor for, like, telling us that it's now Homura's perspective, because Homura does not care about this world. Homura believes it completely irredeemable. The only reason Homura, like, essentially doesn't give up on the world is because she knows Madoka won't give up on the world, and so she's like, okay,
this is Madoka's,
I don't see what I don't.
Yeah, Homura's
she's like, I don't get what Madoka believes in this world, but she does,
Yes.
so I exist in it.
She's like, this is Madoka's world now. Like, she made the rules for this shit, so I'm going to uphold those because I love her.
Yes, I don't like it, but I love her. My love for her is overriding my hatred for this world, essentially. Well, it's not really hatred, it's more like disdain and sort of just disillusionment. She just does not care about the world. Her only world is Madoka. So Homer is just like, okay, let's just try walking then. And Kyoko's like actually interested now. She's like, okay, something is up. Let's just walk. They start walking, and then, oh boy, penny drops because as they're sort of talking and walking. Oh god, sorry, I was just trying to find my notes again just to make sure that I write this correctly. Okay. They start walking, and Homer is just like, we're not there, we should be there now, and mentions the fact that they're in some type of loop. Something's preventing them from leaving the city. And Kyoko's like, yeah, something's preventing us from leaving the city. Like, this is some weird loop that we're on. And then Homer, oh my god. Homura just flat out says, like, it's not that, like, we're prevented from leaving the city, it's because there's nothing outside this city.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing outside of this city, and it's like, someone has trapped us here. Someone has messed with our memories and falsified them. Like, you don't remember witches, but you remember Madoka. Like, you don't remember how you even got here. Like, this is wrong. Like, someone has trapped us here. This is all horribly, horribly wrong. And Kyoko, like, this is where you see Homura is very much Homura now.
Yeah.
The Homura that we know, because it's very clear she remembers everything.
Yeah, so Kyoko in the scene is like, hey, we should tell people about this. And Homura goes, no.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. I'll take care of it. And then, I mean, okay, just go ahead. Looks it around them.
Yeah, Kyoko's like, let's fight our way out of this. Like, we'll goes to transform essentially, and Homura stops her and is like, don't. We'll handle this.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone, because look up, Kyoko, and look around you. And Kyoko, for the first time, really sort of looks at all the people that have, like, surrounded them in a sense. And all these people stopped and staring at them. But they're not people, because their faces and heads have been replaced with Homura's and Kyoko's in a almost like someone has, like, drawn crayon on a balloon type of sense of, like, this is, like,
it's like very papery,
borderline
looking.
Mocking them.
Yeah.
Like, it's a threat in a
it's
sort of way of, like,
a threat,
don't do this.
And they're all walking towards them.
Yeah, they're all walking towards them, and then Kyoko is just like, okay, fine, like, okay, if you, like, we won't tell anyone, we'll keep this, we'll just act as if everything's normal.
And then everyone
all the
starts
stop
walking away and look normal.
Walk away.
They look normal again, too.
And then, and they're normal again. And Kyoko essentially goes like, you're right, my memories are messed up, like there is something wrong here, and I don't remember ever seeing you like this, Homura, like, but oddly enough, seeing you, like, all tough like this feels like it's the only way that fits you. Like, it fits you in a weird way. And Homura is just, like, walking away at that point, just being like, I'm the only one that remembers this, and like, there is only one thing that this is. Like, we are trapped in a single place. We cannot leave. We are in a labyrinth.
Yeah!
And then it cuts. And this is when shit starts to really hit the road fucking running.
The first time.
Because...
this is when it goes from 0 to 100. Later it'll go from 100 to 1000.
they go from like 0 to light speed,
to,
and then they go from light speed to fucking plaid.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Okay, so from here, Homura is just like, they're like, the only thing that could trap us in here this powerful is a witch. And like, okay, we're getting a like, Homura is, this is a really abstract and visual metaphor point of, okay, Homura is walking through this void of nothing, and everything, every time she's walking, you see these little frames of memories and glimpses from the series and everything, and as it zooms out, you sort of see they're all a circle, in a sense, of these memories that form, and like larger memories are appearing in these sort of gaps in the circle of this inner circle. And it zooms out fully as Homura reestablishes the whole magical girls turn into witches, and then Homura remembers the fact that she did the time loop and went back to try and save Madoka, and it all ended with Madoka breaking that cycle and creating this new universe, and it's now based on Madoka's rules. And as she says that, this whole thing is Madoka now, the circles all, you see them all at once, and all of them have Madoka's face from when she's saying, I believe it's from when she's saying goodbye to Homura,
Yeah.
and like as she's like fully becoming a god. And it's like this beautiful metaphor of like, as Homura is explaining this world through memories, and these frames that form this circle have the memories, like you have Homura explaining like this world is like made of memories, and then as she says that, you have Madoka in the center of it all. Madoka is in the center of this world made of memories, because that's what fucking Madoka is now. She is the center of this universe. She created it. It's all based on her and her wishes.
Mm-hmm.
It also serves a second purpose, but I can't talk about it now because it'll spoil the third act.
Ah!
So we've had it reestablished. So Homura then reflects and goes, this world should have been led to be different and better, but for some reason, everyone's forgotten what's happened, and someone's trying to implant false memories in us. Why would someone do this? What the hell's going on? And then we cut to Homura, Mami, and Madoka drinking tea together with Kyubei sitting on the table. Also, Kyubei's here, by the way, still.
Yeah, and Kyubei
hasn't said a single thing. Cute? Cute? Kyubei's sitting on the table, Beibei's there as well.
Fuck you, man.
Okay, I'm being hyperbolic. I don't hate fucking
Beibei.
Beibei as much as I jokingly say.
Yeah.
I do kind of dislike Beibei, but like,
you.
I dislike Beibei in the sense of like, out of the 5 magical girls and Beibei and Kyubei, like, Beibei is definitely the low end of the list. Like, it's no contest.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming Baby will probably get more development in the next movie.
I
Maybe
hope
so.
not. So I hope Beibei isn't in it.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, I just don't like Beibei.
Baby's
So they're drinking
great.
tea together and reflecting on the fact that, like, the kind of fucked up fact that Mami met Beibei before she met the rest of them, and like you see memories of Beibei like growing with Mami and like having memories together, and it's like, okay, this is really fucking weird. Mami sort of talks about like the fact that like, I don't know if I could have made it this far without Beibei. Like, all I'm doing is putting on a brave face to because like being a leader is really hard, and like Beibei is my rock essentially. And it's like Homura is just like, don't count yourself out, like, Mami, like, you're a really good leader. Like, I think you would have done fine without Beibei. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, because she did. And Madoka's just like, oh, well, like, it's really fun fighting all these nightmares and everything, you know? And then Mami's just like, Madoka, fighting these things is not meant to be fun. Like,
Yeah.
what?
It's an important duty that we have to do. It's fucking
Yep,
fun.
and then-
They like
yeah,
sit
it's-
around
it's-
and sing and eat cake together and shit. It's fun.
Yeah, it's
Not-
fun.
Anyway.
But Homura, being full Homura now, is like, oh, Mami, can you get me some more tea? And Mami's like, sure thing, and goes into the other room. And Homura freezes time, but doesn't freeze Madoka, and is... no, sorry.
Does it?
Madoka's just concerned.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody's frozen except Homura. Until,
yeah, everyone's frozen
you know.
except Homura. And Homura's like, okay, let's get down to business. Homura grabs Beibei and says, drop the act, I know what you fucking are. I remember what you used to be. I know you used to be a witch. I know you killed Mami. What the fuck are you? And
Yeah,
Beibei's like,
not
Beibei, don't
even-
know. What are you doing?
Yeah, not even that you used to be, that you are a witch, which I think is an important...
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. And she lowers Mami's windows and jumps out of the building. and flies off to just another area and slams Bebe against the wall and starts interrogating them, being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, drop the act, like, admit it. You're the one behind all of this. And she's like, I never fully trusted, like, mommy on this, or you on this, like, something's up, and, like, what is going on, Bebe? And she goes to try and, like, kill Bebe because she's fucking done, and then a yellow ribbon comes and saves Bebe at the last second.
Which I want to say,
fuck.
because the ribbon is around Homura's ankle, which makes her connected to Mommy, so Mommy won't be frozen in time. You can see when Mommy gets up to get Homura tea, there is actually frames of Mommy attaching the ribbon to Homura.
Oh my god,
Yep.
I fucking love that.
Yeah, you actually
I
can see
legitimately
it.
love that.
Yep, it's pretty fucking cool. You just, like, barely notice it.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Yeah.
So, yep, Mommy wasn't frozen, and she's come, and she's like, what are you doing with Bebe? And Homer's like, explaining the situation, like, we're in this trap, and, like, it's all Bebe's fault, Bebe's behind it. And Mommy's like, I don't fully believe you.
Yeah,
Like,
Mommy's
what
like, are you okay, Homura?
Yeah, Mommy's, like, legitimately concerned in, like, what is going on here? Like, are you okay? Like, what are you, you're fighting
Mommy's
Bebe.
like, I wanted to hear you out more, but I couldn't sit by and let you hurt Bebe. And Homura's like, listen, you have to listen to me. Bebe is a dangerous witch. And Mommy's like, Homura, are you okay? And then Homura, like, fucking winces because it is exactly what happened in the series whenever she tried to explain that Kyubey was evil. In the timelines. Right. Yeah, because she even says directly before this, you know, I never felt comfortable around Mommy. She was always the by far the kindest and looked after us all. So telling her the truth, her finding out the truth always really hurt. And then whenever she tries to tell her the truth about this, the exact same thing happens as in main story, which is, are you okay, Homura? Like, they don't believe her that Kyubey is evil in main series. Or not evil, but against them in main series. Yeah. So it's the exact same thing. Yeah. And it's like, fuck yeah, give me that.
And it's that sort of twinge. Yeah. And okay, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this fight scene, so
strap in!
Strap in, because there is a lot to fucking talk about.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Mommy and Homura have this essential stare down of, like, what's, like, Mommy going, what's going on? Homura going, like, you need to believe me. Are you the one behind this, really? Sort of, like, Homura is, like, almost paranoid and just wants to end this. She's eternally worried. And Mommy is legitimately concerned about Homura, and also the fact that Homura is trying to kill Bebe. She's like, what is going down? Like, what is happening to cause you to be like this? And they talk, oh god. They talk about Madoka, and Mommy kind of brings up Madoka, and it's like, almost in a way where it's like she's kind of goading Homura into acting in a way. She's like trying to prod Homura into reacting to try and figure out what the hell is going on with Homura. And they lunge at each other and have this elaborate fight that we're now going to go somewhat into detail as much as we can. Jesus. So you have them flying amongst each other, trying to shoot each other, and you sort of have this in the back of your head, or you have Spooky over your shoulder reminding you, if you've forgotten, that Mommy is canonically the strongest out of them.
Yeah, Mommy's strong as fuck.
Yeah, Homura's strong, but not as strong as Mommy.
Homura has a cool ability, but Mommy is, like, way stronger than Homura.
And it's like, remember that in your mind, because it's like, this fight is very unmatched. Yeah. Like, Mommy could very easily beat Homura if she really wanted to. And it is very clear through, like, the way she's fighting and, like, the way that she's reacting to everything is that Mommy is in control. Yeah. Mommy is completely in control of this fight.
Yeah, like, the fight starts, and first off, I should say, as they're shooting the bullets, time is still frozen, so the bullets are only going so far, and then freezing, like, next to each other, and it's showing them lining up, like, almost perfectly.
They form this sort of almost beautiful, like, lattice structure of frozen bullets.
Yeah, and even when the fight starts, Mommy's like, do you really think you can beat me? And Homura goes, I can outlast you. which I think is really, like, important.
Yep.
Because it's like, Homura even knows, like, I'm not strong enough. There is a cut where they're going at each other and Homura looks determined as fuck and Mami looks terrified. But knowing Mami's character, you know, Mami's not terrified because, oh shit, maybe I'll lose to Homura. Mami's terrified because she doesn't want to hurt Homura.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's that split second of like, oh god, am I actually going to have to like hurt her to get like to put her to like stop this? Like that whenever you see Mami sort of scared or anything in this fight, it's not because she's losing control or she's worried about losing. It's because there's that sort of the entire fight. The point of it is for Mami to figure out like what is going on with Homura and how far Homura is willing to go to get to whatever she's trying to get to. And it's like there are points in it where Mami's like, oh no, I think she's actually going to do it. Like, I think she's actually determined to fight me and it would be willing to, like, try and kill me in order to get what she wants. And it's not like, oh no, that's scary to me. It's scary to Mami because it's like, that means I have to put her down, in a sense. Like, not essentially kill her, but, like, I have to hurt her to stop her.
Yeah, Mami doesn't want to hurt people, right? Mami's the caring leader and, like, the older sister figure to all of them, like, she wants them to be happy and everything to be perfect, and that's just how she is. So it's like, and she's in a hard position, right? Because she's defending her like pet type thing that's been with her for so long, but like also in order to defend them, she has to attack one of her friends. So it's like in a hard position for her too, right?
Yeah. And so after this sort of elaborate dance of shooting bullets near each other and missing because the other is dodging, that sort of thing, they stop. Gun pointed at each other, and you see the full scope of the amount of bullets they've shot, and like all of them frozen in time. And then time reactivates. The bullets go flying, shooting everywhere. Both of them are out of breath, staring at each other down the barrel of a gun. The bullets are going flying, missing both of them. They're not even having to move, because neither of them actually wanted to hurt the other person. They wanted... Yeah,
I would almost make the argument... Well, no, okay, no, let's continue. I would almost make the argument that Homura might have wanted to actually hurt Mami.
Homura, that's the thing. That's why Mami doesn't... Like, that's why Mami was doing this, because Mami was trying to figure out if Homura would actually want to hurt Mami in this fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I want to say during the fight, Homura was probably more than ready to hurt Mami, and we'll talk about the effects of after the fight here in a second.
Yes, because it's not just a moment of Mami realizing that Homura doesn't want to hurt Mami. Yeah. It's also a moment of Homura realizing she doesn't actually want to hurt Mami.
And it's like, during the fight, I think Homura wanted to hurt Mami.
Yes, I think during the fight she did, but because, like, when all the bullets go flying, Homura has this sort of reality check in her mind.
Homura looks pissed whenever the bullets are flying, right? Like, Homura's mad. Like, it's not like, she's not, like, scared. She's not, like, she's, like, angry.
She's legitimately pissed.
Yeah, and Mami looks confident as fucking shit. She's, like, smiling down at her, and she's like, eat my shit, Homura. Like,
it honestly feels like this, like, that specific moment of, like, the bullets flying, Homura looking pissed, and then you cut to just Mami with this sort of smug, almost satisfaction on her face of, like, I get it. I now get it. And, like, I Mami has basically narrowed down, like, how Homura is really feeling. And Homura unconsciously has realized it, but consciously is angry that she's missed. She's absolutely... She wants to fight Mami. Okay. But, like, because she's missed, there's this anger within her of, like, why did I miss? And she hasn't fully clicked with her yet. It started to...
Yeah, well, no, I want counter argument of Homura couldn't hit Mami. I think Mami purposefully missed Homura. I think Homura was mad that she didn't hit Mami. And the reason I want to say that is because of what happens next, which...
The reason why I say what I sort of said of, like, it's sort of like it's not actually happening in that moment of like Homura realizing she doesn't want to fight Mami. It's like planting a seed, like a very tiny seed in her mind of like sort of questioning, did I miss because Mami is too good, or did I miss because like why did I miss? Like, why didn't anything hit her? Planting that seed of like,
okay,
why
I
like
can see that.
why didn't anything hit her?
I can see that, but I think okay,
and then,
I can see that.
Like so the very next thing is they're facing each other, and Homura. This is kind of why I say it, because Homura kind of puts it to the test, and Homura puts her gun to her head, and realizes, like, hey, it's alright, let's just end this fight now. Goes to pull the trigger, and Mami instantly pulls her hand away from her head with her ribbons, and the gun goes off. It shatters the ribbon, so Mami doesn't get frozen with time as Homura freezes time. Mami is completely frozen now at Homura's whim.
So
Homura points...
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to say with that... So yeah, Homura puts the gun to her head. Mami pulls the ribbon so that the gun will miss. Homura doesn't have to worry about Mami saving her or not in that moment, because Homura is the only one that knows that her soul, or that her, like, whole being is in her soul gem.
Yeah.
So Homura doesn't have to worry about if Mami saves her or not there. Yes. But Mami chooses to. She knows
entirely...
Mami will. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a second we'll explain why she does that.
Yeah.
So time is frozen. Mami is completely at Homura's will. Homura grabs her gun, points it squarely at Mami's head, is about to pull the trigger, and then it clicks within her of like, I don't want to kill Mami. She realizes that like Mami isn't her enemy.
Yeah.
Like, she just wants this fight to end. She just wants to find who is responsible and punish them. And it's clear that, throughout this fight, she's realized that Mami was in control.
So, sorry. I hate to keep interrupting you. I feel bad.
No. But, like I said, we're going to be on this fight scene for a while.
Yeah, so, and this is the reason why I think that, Homura during the fight definitely wanted to kill Mami, and during the part where she misses all of her bullets is pissed, because I don't think Homura realizes how she feels about Mami until this moment. Because when she points the gun at Mami's face, she looks at Mami's face and it's full of like just distress, like worry for Homura. Like she sees
pure distress.
Yeah, she sees that Mami cared so much and was like yelling like, no, wait, don't do that, and is so scared and so like upset. And I think that's when Homura realizes. She looks at her face and then is like, wait, fuck, hold on. No.
It's like this, it's sort of like this full switch, because it's like, so the purpose of it, if you didn't realize, as we were explaining it then, Homura, like shooting herself in the head, she knew it wouldn't actually really do much. So what was the purpose of it? And it's like, then you realize, oh, she knew that Mami cared enough about her to stop her and grab the ribbon. And at that moment, as she's pointing the gun, she realizes, like, she knew Mami cared, but then seeing the, like, actual legitimate distress in her eyes, she was like, oh, she
Homura
really cared.
used the gun to her head because she knew Mami would go to, like, try to reach for her. She knew that, so she uses that as an opening to be able to literally shoot Mami in the head and fucking murder her in that moment.
Yeah, like, she uses Mami's own greatest weakness against her. Yeah. Because Mami's greatest weakness is that she cares so much about her team and her friends that she doesn't want them to die, even if they're, going to kill themselves. Like, she doesn't want that to happen. So if Homura points a gun to her head, she knows that Mami's going to try and stop that. So she uses that against her, and that's why I say, like, before, it sort of plants that seed in her mind, because it's like, she, at that point, you're right, when she points the gun at Mami's head, she's like, and executes that entire plan. It's like, she knows Mami cares about her. But it's the sudden, like, penny-dropping moment of, like, oh, Mami actually really cared. Mami, it wasn't just, like, a ploy.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fake. It wasn't like sort of any sort of light-hearted love or anything. It was like legitimate caring.
Yeah. And if we look back to the series with this, right, there are two big moments that pop out to me. Well, three really. The first one being when Mami and Homura see each other in episode 3. Mami literally says, "Hey, next time I see you, we're gonna fucking fight." Like, and then Mami dies, and then it's like this whole big thing. And sure, it's like the next time we kind of see them on screen together, it's fine, whatever. That's just kind of a light like callback, like haha. They obviously have that tension. But the two other things here are first off, if you remember in the series, Homura choosing not to shoot Mami in the head right there and kill her is huge, because in the series, she literally looks at Sayaka and is like, I don't give a damn what happens to you. Honestly, the only person that matters is Madoka, and that's the only person I care about saving. So that's a big thing. A big moment for Homura is like, why the fuck does she care about Mami? But this is a perfect rule to remember. And then also, like, thinking back to, like, Sayaka and Kyoko in the series, when they fought each other, Sayaka was like, we were fighting to the death. Magical girls fight each other to the death, but Mami never thought that way, and I think that's like kind of important. Just like kind of a mirrored thing there, right? Where it's like we see two magical girls fighting again, and Mami could have put out a fucking cannon and blasted Homura's shit to bits, but she didn't do that.
Yeah. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like this entire sort of like characterization of Mami is like. Throughout the entire series, like, specifically through those fights with Kyoko and Sayaka, like, you have, like, Sayaka being like, Mami, like, wouldn't, like, this is a fight to the death, like, Mami wouldn't do that, Mami's better than us, like, I'm going to be like her, like, she's the exception to the rule of magical girls.
People go, Spooky, why do you like Mami? It doesn't make sense, she's not really in the show all that much, and I'm like, because Mami is a fucking fantastically written character. I mean, all of them are, but, like, Mami is so fucking good.
Mami is so fucking good.
Yeah.
So...
Anyway.
Okay. So, you have this moment of sorry, we've left Homura holding a gun at Mami's head this entire time.
Yeah.
Homura's holding her gun at Mami's head, realizes just how much Mami cares, and the penny has dropped in her mind. She's gone, I can't actually do this. She doesn't actually want to kill Mami. It doesn't, like, she realizes, like, just how perfect this world is and how perfect like Mami fits into it, and is like it would like there is no reason for me to kill Mami. Like she doesn't deserve this. I don't want to do this.
And also if I kill Mami, the whole like everything is going to go to shit just like it used to.
Yes, and it's like as bad as this world is, like she doesn't deserve that, and the others don't deserve that. So what she does is she lowers her gun to shoot Mami's thigh instead, because she doesn't want to kill Mami, but she wants this fight over. And it's like, finally the one bullet that actually hits Mami. She shoots the bullet, it pierces Mami's thigh, time restarts, but then Mami's thigh twists and twirls, and her entire body turns into an amalgamation of ribbons, and wraps Homura up instantly and ties her in the same way that she did before Mami died.
Yeah.
Of tying her up and putting the bow with the lock on her. And freezes her. And you have that thing in the back of your head rearing again of like, Mami was in control the entire time. And this, like, the moment when we rewatched this, it finally clicked with me of like, Jesus fuck, like, Mami, after all the bullets flying around, had an inkling that, like, she was getting closer to the truth of, like, what Homura's intentions were, but she wanted to test Homura one last time, essentially, of letting Homura think she would win and have the upper hand, and just to see what Homura would do. Like, essentially, like, giving Homura a gun with a bullet and saying, go on, shoot me.
Yeah.
And then letting her point it at her head and pull the trigger. But Mami emptied the magazine beforehand because Mami knew, like, the point wasn't, here, let Homura hurt me. It's, let's see how far Homura actually wants to go. I'll pretend to put myself in danger so that, like, essentially doing the same thing that Homura did in reverse, using Homura's main weakness against her, where it's like Homura's main weakness is that she relies so much on her ability and her stability of her ability, and has such a refined focus with her goals that when she's completely focused, she can be blindsided really easy by things that she just wasn't expecting. So it's like, if she thinks she has the upper hand, she won't start to question it. She'll be like, okay, I've got the upper hand, let's use it. Which Mami completely used against her, whilst Homura was using Mami's weakness against her.
Yeah, they know each other so well.
It's such a beautiful scene of why this fight scene is so fucking good. Because it's these two completely opposite characters doing every little bit of this fight. Like, everything we just mentioned, like the bullets freezing and flying, and then Mami turning into ribbons and tying up, Homura, is 30 seconds to a minute long, I think. Probably 2 minutes long if you really stretch it.
I think the whole fight's 4.
Well, the whole fight, there are parts outside of it, but I'm specifically just talking about when they're frozen with all the bullets and up to Homura being wrapped in ribbons.
I see what you're saying now.
It's and we've spoken for nearly 20 minutes on it.
And
because there's so much.
So and the dialogue at this point is really important too, right? So Homura's Mommy, please listen. Or no, first off, Mommy says, you're a fool if you think you always have the upper hand. Which is just fuck yeah, thank you, Mommy.
Mommy's always in control.
Yeah,
and real quick before you continue, every shot of Mommy in this fight has, framing 101 of the dominant person is framed from below, pointing upwards to have this dominant overhanging feature, and Homura is always from above to show that they are the weak, submissive one in this scenario. Mommy's completely in control the entire fight.
So anyway, she's like, you're a fool if you always think you have the upper hand in a fight. Which is just Mommy, I love you. But then, Homura's like, Mommy, please listen to me. You have to remember these witches and stuff. And then, Mommy goes, I'm glad to see you at least have, some regard for my well-being. And Homura mentions witches, and she's like, witches, we don't fight witches, we fight the wraiths. And then pauses and goes, wait a minute. Wraiths have been what I've been fighting this whole time, so what are nightmares?
Yeah.
And then, boom,
the penny goes up in the air for Mommy now.
Yeah, fire extinguisher.
And then Sayaka does her second ability, which is throw a fire extinguisher, throw her sword at it, completely cloud Homura, and then when the mist of the fire extinguisher goes away, Homura is gone, and Mommy just sort of stands there because not shocked, oh man, I was swindled. It's no, she knew something was going to happen, or it doesn't really matter.
And Mommy's like, yo,
her.
What the fuck? And then you hear, I can explain. And Mommy turns around, she's like, who the fuck are you, cute child? And then she's like, baby?
Yeah, and then Bebe is just like, listen, here, I'll explain this to you. And then we cut
to one of the best scenes in the movie.
I was literally about to say that as well. We cut to one of the best scenes in the movie. Sayaka essentially lands with Homura in this alleyway. Sayaka frees Homura from the wrapped up ribbons and basically calls her out, being like, you fucking idiot, you tried to fight Mommy while she's in top form, you know you weren't gonna win, right?
Yeah, she was literally
you're not that dumb.
You must either be really fucking stupid or really fucking confident, and I don't know which one. It's
yeah. and Homura's just like, listen, Sayaka, you need to understand, where current, explains the trap and the loop and everything. It's someone
Madoka,
is fucking with our memories. And while she's explaining this, Sayaka has this sort of carefree, in control, happy demeanor about her. And she's kicking water.
Yeah. She's
up
talking.
And,
sorry.
No. It's good.
Yeah, no. So Sayaka's first off, just offhanded. Sayaka, because Homura mentions witches, and Sayaka is yeah, haha, witches, and then Homura's like, you remember too, and she's like, it's my job. Which you don't question
Yeah,
that at the time, but that comes back later.
Yeah. She literally just goes like, "Wait, you remember witches?" And she's like, "I mean, it's my job to remember."
Yeah,
them.
and then
it's my job to remember everything.
Yeah, and then Homoda's like says something about like Madoka sacrifice and shit, and Sayaka's like, "Oh, so you do remember her?" And Homoda's like, "Yeah, and that's a problem."
Not just that, she's also like, yeah, I remember. I'm the only one who is supposed to.
Yeah, she goes,
remember.
I should be the only one, which is really cool.
I should be the only one.
Yeah, and then it goes into a talk about witches and stuff, right? First off, Homoda goes to turn back time, and Sayaka fucking swoops around and shoves her sword into Homoda's fucking time traveling device, and like
absolutely stops the mechanism completely.
Yeah, and she goes,
all while with this calm smile on her face.
Yeah, and she goes, running back to your own little time, huh? That's a bad habit of yours. And it's like, fuck! Sayaka, you're so cool!
Sayaka is fucking amazing in this.
So cool.
and Homer is just like, I don't have time for this. Like, I've got to find like the witch that created this labyrinth and fight them and get out of here.
And Sayaka's
like, just like,
why?
When you find the witch, what are you gonna do? You gonna kill her?
Yeah,
like,
she's like, are you going to... She's like, what are you gonna do? And Homoda's like, isn't that obvious? And she's like, so you're just gonna kill her like that, huh? A witch set up a perfect life for us, and you're just gonna get rid of her? And it's because they're talking about, and they're talking about the potential of it being any one of the members of the group, right? Sayaka's like, mommy talked about this being her perfect life, and blah, blah, blah. Like, could she be the witch? Could this person be the witch? Yeah, so then Homoda's like, are you siding with a witch? And Sayaka's like, you said it yourself. It's what
really
we've
so
become.
Bad?
Yeah, she's like, is this world really so bad? Like, do we have to kill the witch? And then that's when she's like, are you siding with a witch? And Sayaka's like, it makes sense, right? They're what we magical girls become. It makes sense. I would sympathize with her. And I'm sure you could talk about the next part, because it's like...
oh god, this is, like, just after this part is where my power went out. So I was so incredibly pissed, because after this specific moment, like, my power went out, I'm like, no. Oh god. So, Homoda essentially just goes, who are you, Sayaka? Like, how do you remember all of this? And then Sayaka's just like, oh, well, it's my job to remember. And then Sayaka reiterates the whole, like, hey, it might be one of us, Homoda. Did you not even think of that?
Yeah.
And then she's like...
she's like,
she
are you the real Sayaka Miki? Is the line. And then Sayaka goes, that makes me sad. I'm the same Sayaka you've always known. Transfer student.
And then disappears, and...
Well, you see Octavia in the puddle first.
Well, yeah, she disappears, and what happens is time, like, because she's disappeared, Homoda's time mechanism activates and time freezes. And so all the water that Sayaka's been kicking up has started, like is frozen midair. Well, and you see it just where Sayaka was standing. Yeah. Is just this subtle reflection of Octavia, who is Sayaka's witch.
Yeah.
And it's like...
So that's Sayaka's cape, because remember, Homoda kicks Sayaka in the stomach, and then Sayaka pulls her cape up. And that's when
then
escapes,
the minute that Homoda pulls her cape, everything falls, everything starts again, and Homoda's like, what? Where did you go? And Sayaka just, like, fucking goes like, hey... You might want to actually think if this is actually what you want to do. Like, don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to regret what you're doing. And it's like such a perfect character moment of Sayaka, because it's like Sayaka has gone from waking up and choosing violence to like experiencing horrific trauma and learning from it to like she now knows when to like not fight.
Yeah.
She now, like, knows when to retreat, and, like, the reincorporation of, like, don't have any regrets, Homura, because, like,
it's so good. It's so good.
Fucking Sayaka with her regrets and everything.
Yeah.
And she's this disembodied voice sort of in the distance, and Homura is just sort of stuck there, just sort of, like, okay, like, Sayaka's gone, like, reflecting on what Sayaka has just, like, said to her and everything, and then my power went out, and I was like...
it was the worst
what?
part! It was the worst part for the power to
What are you
go
doing?
out.
No. So then we come back, real quick, we're nearly at the end of page 3. So, Homura
this is gonna be a
now
long
in a bit of
ass fucking podcast episode. We apologize.
I completely apologize, but I'm not going to, like, I'm sorry, but also I'm not sorry. So Homura is in a boat now, in sort of a tunnel, like one of those Love Boat type tunnel things, but it's just a normal boat. And as she goes through, you sort of see these sort of marionette manifestations of Mami and Sayaka sort of reiterating what they said earlier about Homura and Madoka and sort of like, is it so bad? Like, what is this trap? What is this loop?
Yeah, they're just talking about how perfect everything is in this, like...
How everything's perfect. Everything's
Mommy's
great.
Like, this is the best life I've ever had, or the perfect life I've envisioned, or whatever, and then Sayaka's like, is it really that bad? And Homura's like, it is fucking bad, because this goes against the fucking shit my girlfriend did.
Yes, and then you see the second most abstract thing in this movie, where we cut to imagery of Homura on this boat sailing through an empty void, essentially, and you see these characters, like, eating these pomegranate tomato type red fruit vegetable, and as they're sort of looking at her and sort of, like, following her in a way, and it cuts to Homura at the base of a statue, and the giant elaborate statue is of Madoka in god form, descending, and you cut to the bottom of the statue, which is just like Madoka's legs and feet, and you see Homura's hands gently sort of
caressing them,
caress the outline of her legs as she like sinks down.
Yeah, she's like worshipping her and caressing
absolutely
her legs.
Worshipping her.
And that's the
all these
scene where the kids start throwing the tomatoes, right?
Yes.
And they're saying
the very second after she starts like bowing towards the statue, the kids start throwing the tomatoes.
And the kids are saying "Gott ist tot," which translates to "God is dead," while throwing these tomatoes at Madoka. So.
Wow, okay, I didn't know those children were niche. Fucking where's the mustache? Yeah, it's... wow. Fucking... really showing the struggle that Homura is going through of, like, almost, like, everyone is so happy and content with this world, and, like, the fact that they're saying this, like, stabs her deeply, because it's like, it's wrong, though. This isn't the world that's meant to be. This isn't what Madoka wanted.
Mm-mm.
Like, this is perverted.
Yeah.
And she just wants things to be... She just wants Madoka back.
Yeah, and then we get to another one of the best
and
scenes
then
from
we
the
cut
movie.
Every
God. Scene from here on out is one of the best scenes in the movie.
It really is. So we cut to the boat back being on a river, and it just is about to go under a bridge when Madoka shows up and says, "Oh, Homura, there you are." Jumps down, lands on Homura, and they land on the floor together.
Mommy said you were acting weird.
And like, yeah, Madoka just goes, "Mommy said you were acting weird and I was worried." And it's like, God, Mommy's such a good fucking character and such a good leader. Because it's like, Mommy probably didn't even mention the fight to Madoka.
Yeah.
Probably was just like, hey, Homura's acting a little bit weird. I wonder if she's okay. Sort of like subtly goading Madoka to be like, I should check up on her.
Yeah.
So like that sort of thing. Because like, Mommy also knows that Homura needs that right now. Homura needs Madoka. So it's like, Mommy just like subtly pulling the strings in order to try and help Homura, because she doesn't hold grudges against that fight, because she knows that Homura is going through some sort of intense pain and wants to help her because she's part of her team and one of her friends.
Yeah.
God, Mommy's so good.
Mommy is so good. She is so fucking underappreciated.
She
and just
really
people,
is.
like, turn her, like, just fucking boil her down to, like, she's the titty one. And it's like, fuck you. Like...
That's
she's
so wrong.
Such a good character. It's unreal.
So, we cut to them, the Madoka and Homura, walking in a field together. And sort of sitting down in this field of I can't remember what specific flower they were. I don't know if they were white lilies or just daisies.
I can't remember.
They were white flowers. It's just
Yeah.
white flowers as far as the eye can see. And they're sort of sitting down, and Madoka's like, I'm really worried about you. And Homura just goes, I had this awful nightmare where you went so far away that I couldn't find you, and I was the only one who could remember you, and I was just so lonely and sad. And Madoka just comes up to Homura and holds her and just says, I'd never go away from you, Homura.
Yeah.
Like, I care so much about you, and I care so much about you, Homura. And Sayaka, and Mami,
Yeah.
and it's like that sort of gut punch of like,
Madoka's
I
like-
love you!
Yeah.
And everyone
Yeah.
else. Like, I couldn't leave this. I love It's like, Madoka, you don't understand.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
Madoka also
you
is
just
like,
don't understand.
I would never be able to go somewhere so far away where I could never see you again. I wouldn't be able to stand that. And Homura's like, it would hurt you so bad that you wouldn't be able to stand it. And Madoka's like, yeah.
Even if I needed,
Yeah,
even if
even
like
if I
I
needed
needed
to.
to, or I was required
Yeah.
to do it, I wouldn't want to do
yeah,
it
and
because it would hurt me so
and then
much.
Homura's like, starts crying and she's like, how could I have not seen this? I was so wrong. I made such a
Yep.
huge mistake. I shouldn't have let Madoka sacrifice herself. And while
Yep,
this is
and-
all
and
happening,
she-
the flowers are dying around her.
Yes.
And then she,
So-
sorry.
No, it's alright. I was just about to say she kneels down on the ground while Madoka's holding her, and she just sort of softly weeps to herself and sort of just says like, "These are Madoka's true feelings." Like out loud that Madoka can hear it. Just says outright, "These are Madoka's true feelings."
Yeah.
Because she knows that this isn't really this isn't really Madoka. This is some sort of false Madoka in a way. Like, but like it's a reflection of Madoka. It's what Madoka truly feels, and it's like, oh god, like Spooky said, I've made a huge mistake. Like, I've let Madoka do this. It must be killing her
Yeah.
in so much eternal pain to be like this.
Yeah, and while she's
And then,
saying this, all
yeah,
the
this
flowers around
purple
her
essence.
dying.
This sort of dark purple essence exudes from Homura and
Yeah.
just spreads outwards to all these flowers, and the flowers become darkened and they decay and die, and then they're reborn once more as dandelions, and the dandelions sort of fly into the air and sort of just float
Yeah.
around
And Homura's
as like Homura is
just
processing
know,
these feelings.
Yeah, and Homura's like, just know, if something like that ever happened, you do have the courage, and you can do amazing things. And
Yep.
as
And-
as this is happening, Madoka is braiding Homura's hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I fucking
Yeah.
lost my shit at
Yeah.
because it's such a great little thing of like adding to the scene of like, okay, Homura is braiding Homura's hair because she's like, this isn't you. Like, your hair is like, you're not like this. Like,
Yeah.
you are the shy, awkward Homura that I know. Let's make you back that again. Let's braid your hair like you used to. Like, it's okay. You don't have to have this pain. Like, everything's okay. I'm here. I won't go away. And like, as she finishes braiding it, like, Homura sort of like self-actualizes and makes that decision in her head and goes, no, like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Her hair unravels from the braids and becomes the free-flowing hair that Homura has,
Yeah.
not
And it's
Homura.
very dramatic.
And she just says,
yeah.
that is not me. Like, that, I can't be that anymore. Like, I just cannot. Now knowing this, especially knowing how you feel, I can't be that anymore. I need to
Yeah.
be stronger than
Yeah,
that.
and then she thanks Madoka.
She thanks
and
Madoka.
leaves.
Madoka just sits there speechless
Yeah.
because she's like, "What? Whoa! I was like almost like I kind of misjudged Homura in a way because she's like, I don't think I really know who Homura is."
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Because like again,
Yeah, she even goes
Madoka
like, I
does
wonder
not
what's
realize-
happened to Homura.
she does not realize. She doesn't understand how or why Homura cares so much specifically about her. She doesn't fully actually register it even.
Mm-hmm.
She sort of tries the best she can and like comforts her with everything, but it's like I said, like with the whole like I love you, Homura, and Sayaka, and
Mhm.
Mami, and Kyoko, and my family, and it's like,
Yeah.
Madoka,
Yeah.
I just wish she could understand, and that's what Homura feels as well. And we then Oh boy. Okay, so the scene ends as sort of also as the scene is happening. We need to mention throughout this entire time in this world, zeppelins are sort of flying around, and it's like not really questioned or pointed out. But in this scene, they finally actually interact with the characters because while they're talking, a zeppelin comes in and shines the spotlight that it has on them, and it's like, oh, okay, something's going on here. And then we zoom in on Kyubei's face, and we we cut to Homura calling Kyoko by herself and double-checking her memories and being like, do you remember witches? And Kyoko's like, no, I don't know what that is. Like, and then she's like, do you remember Madoka? And Kyoko's like, of course I remember Madoka. Like,
and then she's
what
like,
are you talking
wait,
about?
should I not remember
You
Madoka?
shouldn't.
And Homura's like, no. And Kyoko starts running for Homura. She's like, Homura, where are you? What are you gonna do? Because
she's realized that Homura's like going to do something. And Homura's just like, someone falsified our memories and trapped us here. Homura places down her soul gem.
Yeah.
And gets on the bus.
Yep.
To leave.
Yep.
And she's going away, and Kyoko's like running, and trying to find her, being like, what are you doing?
As Homura steps on the bus, the world starts falling apart, literally. Like, the Zeppelins are falling from the sky on fire.
They're on fire, the bus catches on fire, the road falls away and becomes space and constellations.
Yeah.
Like, Homura looks at her hand, and her hand fills with these, like, loops and colourful circles of flowers.
Looks like a witch.
like a witch.
Yeah, and Homura is in absolute fucking denial.
Homura is in complete denial of the fact that she feels like, well, she's in complete denial of what's actually happening, but she's also just going, she feels like she's completely failed Madoka because she realizes, she kind of starts to accept that she was the witch that trapped them in this.
Yeah, and prior to had been talking about how, like, the person who did this needs to be eliminated because they are messing with Madoka's rules and taking everyone away from their duties of fighting wraiths. Yeah, so then she's like, how? Why? When
failed Madoka.
Did I become a witch? And it's like, fuck.
Like, I am everything Madoka fought to correct in this universe. I must, like, I am an absolute monster.
So,
I have perverted Madoka's new world.
So a bunch of red lilies grow around her, and then she pulls out a gun, shoots her soul gem a bunch, and it cuts to the statue of Madoka again, and the handprints where Homura was grabbing at have turned to black, like, sludge handprints.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to her own soul gem, and her soul gem, as it's like, as you see it, it zooms in on it, and sort of the purple inside it, suddenly you see these, like, the circle hands from inside the soul gem press up against the outside and corrupt it.
Yeah, and she just shoots it to fucking hell.
It shoots it to fucking back and destroys it. And then, oh boy, this is when things like, if you thought things just picked up, things are about to pick up even more, because...
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to I know that I missed a lot in this because I was writing so much down. So I'm going
will definitely
if I miss anything, stop me.
I will help.
So, we cut to Homura sort of laying down, and we hear Kyubei speaking, saying, hey, I didn't tell you the truth because, I felt that you probably didn't want to know it.
Yeah, and then Kyubei...
you probably didn't want to know the truth of what was actually happening.
Like, you were so happy, and yet you seek the truth. Human curiosity is a really weird thing, huh?
Yeah, this is like Kyubei in this new universe not understanding things at all. And we sort of learn that, like, what's actually happened is that, like, the Kyubeis,
the race of
took
hive mind of Kyubei.
Yeah, the hive mind of Kyubei took Homura's soul gem and experimented with it by isolating it as on the point of it, trying to push it to its limit to separate it from this cycle that exists in this universe.
Yeah, so basically what happened is, at the end of the series, Homura explains the concept witches and the soul gems becoming witches to Kyubey. And Kyubey goes, that's kind of weird, huh? So
I hate that the joke that I made at the end of the series is the entire fucking plot of this movie. Of Kyubey just going, huh, witches?
Yeah. So,
magical girls? Yeah. That's really interesting. If only we knew that information.
Yeah, so then at the end of the series, the post-credit scene, you see Homura starting to become a witch. Kyubey took her soul gem, put it into an isolation pod to where it couldn't hatch into a witch because it was contained, so that they could observe the labyrinth. The labyrinth was built inside of the soul gem. So
because it couldn't explode outwards. It instead created the labyrinth inside itself. So they did this
so they could observe it because they wanted to see the law of cycles interact with it, like come to take it. So they basically made it work so that things could enter the soul gem if the host would invite them, but nothing could leave the isolation pod thing, right? So the important people in Homura's life entered. So that's why you get Mami, Sayaka, Kyoko, Madoka, obviously, Hitomi, Kyosuke. It's like people that she actively knows, which is why everyone has fucking smudge faces.
Which is why everyone else has smudge faces. Yeah. It has a dual purpose of like a visual metaphor, but also plot-wise. Like,
it makes sense.
They aren't people. They aren't there.
So, basically, Madoka, being the law of cycles, entered into this isolation pod, and then because of how Homura remembered Madoka, essentially her memories got warped and she turned back into normal Madoka within this, so she looked like a normal person.
Yeah. Sort of the way I think Kyubey describes it is this sort of thing of like, because remember in this new sort of universe, Madoka doesn't exist as like Madoka, and they don't actually know what the rules of the cycle is, because all they know is like Homura said something about witches, but like that's not how the cycle works. Yeah. And so they're like, if we isolate you from this cycle, we can try and understand it and try and harness it.
Yeah. So
and they're like, there's a specific point where like we're trying to understand this cycle, and like all these people that have walked into your mind, some of them may not exist in the real world, but they do in your mind.
Yeah, which is Madoka.
And they're like, including a very certain girl who doesn't seem to exist at all. Yeah. Madoka.
Yeah. And they're like, so now we know the name of the law of cycles, but because the law of cycles is in your world and how you remember her, she can't act as a law of cycles, so like we just kind of have to, we were just observing you until she did something. Hence, and that is why I always say I can never remember the Zeppelins. The Zeppelins represent the Kyubey.
The Zeppelins are the
Kyubeys they're the Kyubeys searching. Yeah. That's why they have the searchlights. So and then Kyubey points out, Madoka came in here and she forgot she was a god. You were in here and you forgot you're a witch. That's kind of funny, huh?
Yep. Yeah, and it's like, because you're now self-aware, like, this world is going to collapse now that you've created inside you. Like, it's all going to fall apart and be destroyed because it cannot be real whilst, like, you're aware of its existence, essentially. So
Kyubey's like, call to the law of cycles, right? Call to it, reach out, let her take you. And Homura...
Like, she can fix this.
Yeah, and Homura is like, why?
Why? It doesn't make logical sense that you would...
you don't want to just
The specific thing that Homura says is, like, it doesn't make logical sense that you would put all of this effort in for something that you don't even know actually exists. Like, it doesn't make sense that you do this just to prove if something exists or not. What are your actual motives?
And Kyubey just
and then she realizes
head in silence, and then she's like, you want to use her, and it's like, there it is.
And then you get an absolutely beautiful scene where she essentially breaks free of this sort of like hold that Kyubey's kind of subtly had of like keeping her there, and blood-like substance fills this sort of arena-type coliseum that she's in, and you just see all these Kyubeys running around and then being wrapped in ribbons and basically torn out of existence.
So,
like, she is reveling in this like absolute
So
anger that like Kyubey would want to do that to Madoka
at that point,
again.
I don't know if you caught it because you were writing a lot of notes. She's purposefully creating curses to turn herself into a witch faster. Like, she wants to fully become a witch faster. Because
I figured that's what it was, but I didn't. I must have missed the specific when she said it, because I was like, it looks like she's just like
she's
turbocharging.
Yeah, so she's trying to create curses quickly to become a witch faster, so that Madoka can't save her. Yeah, so basically
she's sacrificing herself, because if Madoka saves her, then Kyubey will be able to basically take advantage of Madoka and start that cycle all over again.
And Kyubey's like, oh, so wait. You're in, like, what are you doing? You're literally going, like, you're gonna live with your curses for the rest of your life? And she's like, nah. Mami and Kyoko are here. They'll take care of it. They'll kill me. I have faith in them. And Kyubey's like, but you won't have salvation. And Homura's like, you don't remember this, Kyubey. I made my wish for the sole purpose of protecting Madoka. And I am willing to not ever have salvation. I'm willing to never see her again, if that is what it costs.
Because I don't matter. Yeah. Like, what matters is Madoka, and like, if you're planning on doing that, taking advantage of Madoka, I'm going to stop you. Like, it doesn't matter if I sacrifice myself to an eternity of pain. Like, everything in my life is dedicated to Madoka. So, it is for her. Yeah. You cannot take that away from me.
It's so good. It's so good. And then,
it really is.
Yeah.
Because specifically Kyubey also then says, like, why are you angry? Like, you would bring her back. Like, isn't that what you want? Wouldn't that bring you the joy that you want? Because Kyubey still doesn't understand the emotions. Yeah. And Homura just, like, keeps raising these curses and mentions, like, hey, I'm a magical girl because I wanted to save Madoka. Like, you don't understand this. Like, this labyrinth is going to be my grave. Yes. Mami, and you see a visual representation of Mami and Kyoko standing
next to a guillotine,
staring at Homura, whose head is inside a guillotine. Like, she knows what her future is. She wants it. And Kyubey's just like, what are you doing? Like, this makes no sense. Yeah. He's like, your thoughts are so illogical. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to ruin everything.
And Homura's like, shut up. And then you see Homura's ultimate despair, and it's her and Madoka sitting in the chairs that you see in the Luminous opening for the recap films, where they snuggle in the chairs. And they're sitting in the chairs, and Madoka, it's Moemura, and Madoka stands up.
Madoka stands on the chair, T-poses.
And then falls off the side, and Homura reaches for her.
Off the side.
And that's when that animation is reused for her transformation. When she reaches.
That makes sense.
But Madoka lands on the ground and turns into pink goo, and Homura is sitting above it, looking terrified, and then it cuts to a fist coming down on her, and it's a bigger Homura just punching the ground, screaming, with, like, paper doll-looking Moemuras around her, staring down at her. And,
judging herself for, like, even not being able to save Madoka, sort of thing.
And Homura's like, I see. So this is my despair. This is what being a witch is. And we see Witch Homura. We get to see Witch Homura. Lily.
Okay, real quick, we need to talk about Witch Homura before we go any further, because, like, the absolute best part of it, Witch Homura, is, like, you have these giant crow wings, and then you look at her face, and her face has these ribbons stitching her
mouth shut.
Entire lower mouth, like, shut, completely shut. Because, as she said to Kyubey, she's like, I won't tell you anything about Madoka. Like, I'm going to take that to my grave to protect her. And it's like, oh,
and
God.
She's wearing, she, like, literally emerges from a cocoon, too. She's wearing a giant witch hat, but the top half of her head slices open, and red lilies pop out of it. And God. She has a, what are those called?
Crows?
No, the like, speaker on her back that's, like, on an old record player. What are they called?
Oh, a gramophone.
Yeah, gramophone. Thank you. I knew it was something phone, but I couldn't remember what. On her back, and it's yelling Madoka. Like, it's yelling Madoka's name.
That.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's Oh.
Yeah, and there's like a ribbon on her back that turns into hands that is grasping at the ground. Because as Homura is going towards the guillotine, her hands are like in the wooden.
They're in a wood block. They're cut together because now that Homura's a witch, she's back inside the labyrinth as this witch, and she's a giant inside this world. Yeah, and
her ribbon is hands scratching at the ground, like clawing at the ground, trying to escape the fate that's like happening.
It's this giant like cosmic hands that are like almost like the way they're designed make me feel like that's the side of Homura that Madoka has influenced.
Yeah, it's the side
it's
that
the
doesn't
part of her
want
that's
to die.
Desperately trying to prevent her to doing what she's trying to do now.
And also she has an army of Homurains around her that represent all of the different times she has looped.
Oh.
And they're marching her to her death. And
they're marching to their death.
And then you see Madoka, Mami, Sayaka, and Kyoko standing on a thing, and Mami's like, "That's a witch," and Sayaka's like, "Yeah, don't be scared of her. She's going through a lot more pain than any of us are feeling right now." And then Kyubey tries to intervene, and they're like, "You can talk, motherfucker." Baby like hisses at Kyubey, like, "Get the fuck away." And Kyubey's like, "Hey, Madoka."
Yeah, because Kyubey specifically says, like, "Oh, you guys gonna go fight your friend?
Yeah.
Are you really gonna do that?" And they're just like, "You talk?" And Sayaka's just like, "Shut up."
Yeah,
Kyubey.
and then Kyubey, like, starts to talk to Madoka, and Sayaka literally stands in between them and is like, "Madoka, don't listen to him. Do exactly what we told you to do." And then, so Nagisa, like, transforms into magical girl, little Nagisa.
Yep, no longer baby.
Yeah, and, notice she has a horn, by the way. Her weapon's a horn, Sayaka's is a sword. Haha, those are two things you see angels with.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's Monster Hunter.
It's Monster Hunter, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's Monster Hunter.
But no, it's two items you commonly see angels with.
Hitomi is dual blades.
Yeah, yeah.
But we haven't seen it.
So,
we oh god, this entire sequence is just so much happening.
Yeah.
Like
so
Kyubey's like, "Wait, Sayaka, what the fuck are you doing?" Like how, like, you're not, like, what are you doing? And Sayaka's just like, "You focus so much on Madoka, you ignored the rest of us.
You ignored me and Nagisa, like, who are also a part of the law of cycles." And and
Kyubey's just like, "Oh, are you like part of this? Like, are you part of the cycle?" And Sayaka's just like, "We're more like her personal assistants."
Yeah. And so Nagisa and Sayaka can use their witch forms freely. Right?
Yes.
Yes,
which you've seen throughout this entire thing of like you've
hints,
seen the hints of like as Sayaka's fighting, you can see like hints of Octavia there. Like, and it's like, oh, this is like a symbol of like, this is Sayaka from the past one. Like, remember, she turned into a witch. And she has control over this now for some reason.
Yeah, and so the reason Bebe is in her witch form the entire time is because that's the form that Homura would recognize. Because if a new girl was suddenly there that Homura didn't know, it'd throw off the whole shit instantly. So that's why Nagisa's playing along as like, "I'm Bebe." Like, I'm the pet. That's the reason.
See, that makes sense to me, and like the fact that there's actual justification of it is like, okay, I'm more okay with it now.
And it makes sense to if you've watched that scene again where they're in the apartment, and Homura approaches, like, when Mami leaves the room, Bebe goes, "Homura, is something wrong?" And just, like, the framing of the face is like, oh fuck, oh shit, because they know, like, Sayaka and Nagisa know to some degree. So it's like, it adds shit once you, like, know and you go back. But,
but, God, you have, like, Sayaka, okay, the way Sayaka, I think Sayaka is probably my favorite sort of, like, fighting style visually. Like, everything about Sayaka, especially in this movie, is just so beautiful. Sayaka is, like, flowing around this city on, like, a pure staff of music, like light blue, waving throughout the entire city, and like just talking to Kyubey throughout it all, just like, listen, like, someone had to hold all of Madoka's memories, like someone had to hold all the memories of this, like that's what we're here for. And like, Madoka worked too hard for her reward to be like this. Like she deserves a reward, like, for what she's done. And like, that's what we're here to do. And
man,
you cut to then to Mami going to Madoka and being like, now's our time to shine. And Madoka's like, okay, because like Madoka doesn't really know what's going on here. Like, it's but
Madoka's
she's still on board
in the dark about it.
And they sort of don't really attack. They don't really try to kill Homura in her witch form. They like she realizes what they're actually doing is they're trying to save her.
Yeah, they're trying to break
and Homura, it's just like
soul gem.
Yeah,
they're
trying to break it to like free her and like end this.
Yeah,
and she's just like screaming out, begging them to stop doing it and let her die.
Man, and then you get the Sayaka.
Oh, you get
Sayaka.
Fucking Sayaka like transforms like to like Octavia becomes this giant witch the size of Homura's witch and just holds like Homura's hands and just like
holds her back from.
It's so beautiful.
And then you get
the most lesbian thing in the movie.
Well, most? I don't know.
Okay.
Second place, I would say.
Okay, one of the most the most overt lesbian thing in the movie because it's outright fucking stated.
Second most overt. I would say
the most lesbian scene that has required like both parties actually.
There we go.
Return love to each other. Okay, so Kyoko then joins Sayaka, and it's just I remember everything now. I remember, your death.
There's a callback. She saves Sayaka in the same way that she saved Sayaka in the Elsa Maria fight in the series. Because Sayaka gets overtaken by a witch, and Kyoko comes in with her spear, saves her, and holds her, and then, puts her down safely. Which is exactly what happened in episode, 6 of the anime. But anyway.
Oh my god.
Another call from
so Kyoko is standing back to back with Sayaka and it's just sort of somberly just I remember you dying and is this just a dream? Like I remember how I felt with that. Is everything happening now just a dream because you're alive? And Sayaka just sort of still facing away from her just says it's not a dream, it's brighter than that. And just, says outright to Kyoko, I thought I didn't have any regrets when I died, but I came back and did all of this because I regret leaving you alone.
Yeah, and they're holding hands.
They just hold hands, and then the music blends their two styles together. Yeah. So you get this sort of eloquent rock music playing. Yeah. As they just continue to fight together, and it's
Nagisa comes in and goes, I came back because I wanted to eat cheese, and then Sayaka's
yep.
You ruined the mood.
I'll be honest, Spooky, I legitimately completely forgot that happened, because the minute it happened, I was like, I want to forget that happened, because that moment was perfect, and then this character had to come in and ruin it.
Nagisa's shit makes a lot more sense if you know her backstory, which is that, her mom... Nagisa wasted her wish by wishing that, she and her mom could eat the most delicious cheesecake together. And then her mom became terminally ill and passed away. So Nagisa, that's how Nagisa fell into despair. She, wasted her wish to eat cheese, literally.
To be fair, she was a child.
She's 8. Yeah, she's 8 or 10, 8 to 10 years old. I don't think her age is actually confirmed. She's young, though. So she wasted her wish and basically just wished for her favorite thing, which is eating cheesecake with her mom. And then her mom dies. It makes a lot more sense. And
now she eats cheese with mommy.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it probably comforts her in a weird way.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's adorable, but also it's
But anyway,
it makes sense. But also, I'm this is such a beautiful scene, and then you had to have that little bit of subtle comedy to it, and it's no, please don't. It's just a I don't think it's bad. Yeah. It's just personally, I'm I just wanted to. Yeah. I wanted it to end on that note.
But then you get but then you get Kyoko being you dummy, and joining Sayaka, and that's how you get the rest of that beautiful scene of them fighting together.
Yeah, and it's oh god, it's so
and then
beautiful.
Octavia has Kyoko's staff instead of a sword.
And then Octavia has Kyoko's staff as she's fighting, and it's
so yeah,
like fucking you want like that is probably the most overt like on the nose
like they have
sort
become
of thing
one at this point, and
of like both of them like are in love with each other and care so deeply about each other. Like they work so well together.
Madoka isn't gay. They're just friends. People say this. People
friends.
Say this. People use
this, and people are wrong.
People use the argument that Sayaka liked a man, and I'm like, do you know what bisexuality is? Because
it's like it's not just like, do you know what bisexuality is, but also do you know what comphet is?
Yeah.
Compulsive heterosexuality is a thing. Like growing up thinking, well, heterosexuality is the norm, so you go out with someone of the, quote, opposite sex,
right,
as society demands you do, and then like you realize, oh, I don't like them, I'm lesbian, or I'm just gay, or I'm bisexual or whatever. It's like your history of romance doesn't determine your sexuality. Like
so
shut up,
we
pets.
get them fighting together, and then you have Mommy come in like on a whole fucking train.
Mommy comes in on a fucking train
finale.
tank.
See, that's what I mean. She could have pulled out like a train tank on Homer, but didn't.
Yeah, she could have pulled out a train tank on Homer at any time, but she didn't.
Literally any other character with giant finishing moves, by the way. Mommy is the only one that has these. Were like literal tanks.
One could argue Kyoko had her finishing move, but it's finishing in that it finishes the enemy and also herself.
Yeah. But you don't see people pulling out like fucking train tanks and firing shit. Anyway.
But Mummy shows up with this tank and just blows shit up, and is just like, Madoka, go.
Yeah.
And Madoka stands there underneath sort of the witch, and is just like, I want to end this. Like, and sort of embraces Homura, and like the two of them sort of have this like really subtle moment, and then like Madoka's just like, let's end this, and like the two of them like reach up, and
is
like,
this
Madoka...
Did we skip the hand coming through the door scene?
I think I just did skip it because I didn't have time to write it down.
Oh, okay. I'll give a super quick summary of that because it's, I think, a really good scene.
And it's a window.
Yeah, it's a window. So, sorry. Before that, there's a scene where it shows an outline of Homura on the ground, and it shows Homura standing with a gun pointed to her head, like she's gonna literally kill her past self. And then it shows there's a window. And Madoka's hand is reaching through the window, and she's like, Homura, it's okay. And there's like a bunch of scars on her hand, and then Homura remembers the timeline where Madoka is dying in her arms, and she has to shoot her soul gem and kill her. So the hand reaches for Homura, who's like struggling with it. It touches Homura. Homura remembers Madoka touching her cheek. And it's just like this whole big fucking thing. It is so symbolic. It is so important to what happens in a little bit. Yeah. So it's Homura remembering all of the suffering that Madoka went through, and remembering on top of that, like, it's literally Madoka's god hand coming to her, but it's scarred also. Yes. Like,
it's coming through this rectangular window.
Yeah. So
like Madoka reaching into like Homura's personal universe essentially, and being like, please reaching out physically and metaphorically of like, please
and
let
Homura
me help.
Doesn't really accept it. And I mean, showing Madoka goddess hand like all scarred up with the past scars from when she was in like the different timelines, I think is like really it kind of shows how Homura views Madoka being a goddess, right? Like it's not necessarily a good thing to Homura, right? Like it brings back painful memories, and she remembers that it hurt Madoka to become that.
And she just remembers like specifically like when Madoka said like it would hurt me, it would pain me.
So anyway, then we get them shooting the
Then we get them sort of holding hands and joining together to point upwards with Madoka's giant bow, and they shoot up into the sky and shatter the sky ceiling. You see the limits and walls of the world, and you see, like, with this sort of world falling down, you see these giant cubes looking in, like a scientist looking in a rat maze, like a scientific maze of some kind. And you just see them there, and they kind of talk about it a little bit. And yeah, that's when we, like, go back to that scene with the whole Madoka in the window reaching out to be like, hey, like, we can do this, like, let's completely finish this. And the cubes are just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand what's going on at all. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Mami places... they don't understand because they're too logical.
Yeah, they shoot the arrows
like,
up in the air, and it comes down on all of them, as they say that too.
Yeah, it comes down on all of them. And they're just like, I believe this is the point where they also say, like we cannot...
Yeah.
No, it's not this bit. It's later that they say it. But
right then is when they're like, we don't understand altogether.
We don't understand it. I'll tell you what I meant. In a bit.
Oh man,
we're only on page 6.
I want to talk about a point specifically. When we get to it, I'm just gonna be like, Gamb, give me the microphone. But go ahead.
Yep. So we cut back to, we cut back now to essentially the world where the cubes were. We're outside the Soul Gem, and everything is like this kind of a wasteland in a sense, sort of a deserty. Like, there's nothing really around them except there's sort of almost an altar where Homura is just laying, because she was about to turn into a witch before they put her in the isolation pod. And you see Mami placing her cracked Soul Gem in Homura's hands, and we sort of see it cut to the side to see these sort of the same marionette type figures floating couches with, like, all these other side characters throughout the story of, like, Hitomi and Kyosuke, Madoka's family, like, all the other side characters who weren't magical girls, who were inside of Homura, inside this labyrinth. And Kyoko and Mami are there by themselves, and they're just talking about, like, is this it? And Mami's just like, well, one day the cycle will come for us too, and it's coming for Homura now. And you see this giant circle open up in the sky, and through it, Godaka appears. Yeah. And is just like, I am here for Homura. I cannot believe I forgot something so important.
Can I take the stage here?
Take
this
the stage.
Is literally my favorite part of the entire fucking franchise of Madoka. So this is, like, my favorite scene. Mm-hmm. So Madoka's coming down to Homura, and she's like, Homura, yeah, exactly like you said, how can I forget something so important as you? And she's like, I've come to take you with me, and now we'll be together forever. And Homura's like, yes, we will. And then she's like, I've waited so long for this, and grabs Madoka's hands, and Madoka's like, Homura? And her Soul Gem changes colors and starts, like, just emanating this, like, energy that's like wind coming out of it. And Nagisa's like, what is her Soul Gem becoming? Why is it darker than a curse? And Sayaka's like, what is that color? Is it obsession? Is it instability? And
what is it representing? Yeah, like, what is it?
Is it desire? And then, like, it's so the screen starts cracking around, like, because Homura's Soul Gem is, like, also doing a thing, and the screen starts cracking in unison with that. And Madoka, like, nobody can reach them because the cracking is, like, quite literally, like, there. And Madoka's like, Homura, what are you doing? Stop, you're gonna tear me apart! And as she finishes that, Madoka stays in the frame, and Gadoka cracks out into non-existence, and Homura holds Madoka close to her and is like basically like reconfirming like we'll be together from now on.
Yeah.
And
also real quick, when Sayaka's just like what emotion is this? You just hear Homura go like, this emotion is mine and is for Madoka alone.
Yeah, she's like this this.
That's why I was like, wait,
How did
Spooky, I think
that?
you forgot probably one of your favorite things about this.
Yeah, I got too excited. Yeah, she was like, this emotion is mine and mine alone. This is for Madoka alone. No one else can understand this feeling. And it's like, boy. So then a similar thing to when we saw Madoka rewrite the universe happens, except for instead of it being light and hopeful looking, it is dark purple, and it's like, how did you explain it, Gamb? Like,
so the way I sort of described it was like, as you see, it's like multiple things happening. Like, you see this dark sort of purple darkness expanding, and within that you see the sort of almost polka dot style pattern bursting through that, and in several frames as you see it explode, because it goes like in the area that they're in, then it goes like the rest of the world, and then it sees like the entire like universe. Like throughout it, you look at the polka dot pattern, and I'm pretty sure in a few frames it's like styled like it looks like hands ripping out to sort of like encompass everything. And like something bursting through this emotion. Yeah,
so then it cuts to Kyubey floating, similarly to how Madoka did when the universe was being rewritten. And he's like, what is this? Where are we? And Homura's like, yes, you probably don't remember the last time this happened. And Kyubey's like, what are you doing? Are you rewriting the rules of the universe? And Homura's like, basically like, yeah, and Kyubey's like, sorry, I'm getting excited.
That's Kyubey if you miss something, I'll say it, don't worry.
Kyubey, is like, what caused this to, like, why are you doing this? What caused this to happen? And Homura's like, it's something that you could never understand. It's the pinnacle of all human emotion. Far deeper than hope, and far, I can't remember the exact wording. Like, basically,
more passionate
than hope and deeper than despair. Love.
It's love.
Yeah.
The thing also is like, because Kyubey is like what happened to your soul gem, like
that,
and
happens,
that's when Homer's like, it wasn't the curses that soiled my soul gem, Kyubey. It's something you will never understand.
And then he's like, so you're not a magical girl anymore. And Homura's like, you're right, I'm not a magical girl. She's like, and at this point, I'm not a witch either. And she's like, I took something as sacred as a god and I pulled it from heaven. So that could only make me a demon, right? And Kyubey's like, this human emotion's way too illogical. Yeah. We're not gonna fuck with this anymore. And Homura grabs him and is like, oh, no. I'm gonna need you here to help me with cleanup. So we're gonna be partners now, Incubator. And he looks terrified. Homura was so gay she became Satan. Which there is some things I want to talk about with that. The fact that her name is Homura Akemi, which is Akemi sounds like Akuma, which is demon or devil in Japanese. And then also the fact that Homura means flame, which is brought up in main series.
Oh my
God.
It's literally, which has multiple implications.
Yeah, it's been set up for a hot minute that Homura was going to be Satan. Which, Gamb, I don't know if you remember when we watched Madoka, the first episode, the teacher was like, today we have a new transfer student, and you went, is it Satan? And then it showed Homura, and you went, yeah, it's Satan. And I was like, did Gamb just make that joke?
Okay. I remember making that joke, and I remember your reaction, and I was like, that was a weird reaction.
I was just like, oh.
It wasn't enough where I was like, oh, is there something about this? It was like, okay,
because
that was a weird laugh,
I was like, does he know? Like, I was like so confused. I was like, wait a minute. Like, it threw me off entirely. But yeah, you literally made that joke, and I was like, and I think Deer kind of, like, chuckled, like, cause they obviously knew, too, and it was just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, see, I was just in that moment,
Yeah.
like, okay, it wasn't that funny a joke, guys, but I mean, okay.
Like,
It didn't click with me that, like, oh, maybe they're laughing because there's, like, deeper connotations, because it was, like, so early in the series that I hadn't gotten accustomed
it was
to it yet.
literally the first episode.
It was, like, literally the first fucking episode.
It was, like, an early scene in the first episode, and yeah, I, like, froze, and then Deer started laughing, and then I started laughing, because it was like, what the fuck? So, yeah, she becomes Satan, and then you get to see...
I want you to know, before anyone, like, tries to, like, say anything about it, like, that was not based on anything of, like, what would come... It was literally just, like, what is the funniest thing I could say that's about to walk through the door? Yeah, that's the thing.
Gamb makes that joke all the time. You've made that joke on previous episodes of the podcast. Like, a character will show up
and the problem is Madoka has... Yeah, Madoka Magica has the same sort of, like, twisted, ironic humor that I make jokes about. Like, earlier, I was like, when the Zeppelin went down towards Madoka and Homura while they were in the field, it, like, was very clearly going towards them, and I sort of made a joke of, like, oh no, the Zeppelin's gonna crash and burn.
Yeah,
and then 5 minutes later, that's exactly what fucking happens.
You also made jokes about... Homura going away from her soul gem directly before it happened too.
Because she after that very specific session, like, Homura was like, I know what I have to do now, and I was like, oh yeah, and that's when Homura hands Madoka a soul gem and then just starts walking away and falls over and dies. It's like, oh, that's the very next fucking scene, except, you know, not with the joke of, like, Homura falls down and, like, oh god, I made a mistake getting away from my soul gem, but, like, it cracks the world, and it's like, it's like not until this moment that I, like, and as you said that with like the joke of Satan, that I'm like, I think that's why I really like Madoka, because the reincorporation of things is like kind of a dumb ironic joke that I would make about in the series, but then they're like, no, we're gonna actually do that, and we're gonna do it well, and then I'm like, oh fuck, that's
it's
so good.
So then it cuts to, which actually, if you want to talk about the next segment, go ahead. I want to talk about.
I was about to, because I realized there's one thing we forgot to mention. It's small, but it's a really small reincorporation thing. So we, like, Kyubey done fucked up. Kyubey's fucked up. We've gone to, like, that's it. Like, Homer is just like, I have plans for you. We've cut to this new world that exists. But before we cut to it, the scene where Madoka and Homura reach up with the bow and shoot towards the sky, I forgot to mention, giant sort of cherry blossoms bloom from the top of Homura's witch's body, and it encompasses the witch to, like, represent this fusion between Homura and Madoka, and them sort of breaking free. So we cut to this new world. And there's cherry blossom trees everywhere.
Hell yeah.
And we cut to Homura sitting down in a seat, sort of in the middle of this sort of walkway. And she's sort of there, but then it cuts to different scenes and she's not there. We see Mami walking in the street, and then Mami sort of is acting normal and then stops for a second, looks towards where Homura was, and doesn't see anything, and then opens her hand to see a crow feather. So something's off right now. We cut to Kyoko sitting in a tree, eating food, eating apples. And she looks down and sees Homura sitting there for a second. But then Homura is gone when we cut to, like, her actually seeing where Homura was. And then something feels wrong to Kyoko as well. And then we cut to Sayaka, who's staring directly at Homura. And Sayaka just says, what the fuck have you done, Homura? And I was just like, oh god, I am so glad they've decided to actually continue this with Sayaka.
And, like, while...
I fucking love
and
it.
I think it's really important, too, that while this is happening, just not yet, but, like, during this conversation, Nagisa is, like, running through the water, happily playing. So it's, like, showing that, one part of the love cycle, like, that's not Madoka herself, because that's been ripped apart. Like, one part of it's already forgotten, which I think is, like, really, like, important to show, like, the power of Homura, you know?
Yeah, and you have, like, Sayaka sort of, like, chastising Homura, being like, what the fuck have you done? And Homura just being like, well,
I just
you
took
shouldn't be like
one
this.
little
Like,
piece of it. Yeah.
yeah, I just took
She's
one
like,
little piece. Like, you can't return to
Yeah.
where you were before,
Yeah,
Sayaka.
and she's literally like, I don't know why the rest of you came here, but somehow you got pulled along. So like,
Yep.
yeah,
and Sayaka's just like, what right do you have to do this? And Homeru's just like, I guess I'm just like, I'm evil now. If that's what you if
I'm
that's
a
the
force
force you want to
evil,
call it.
yeah.
I'm just evil. I'm an agitator
Yeah.
of this world. It seems fitting to
Which
me.
she's not
And-
saying I'm evil as in like I'm mwahahaha. She's like I am.
Yeah, not muhaha evil, but like
how Madoka became the concept of hope itself. Homura became the concept of
Yes.
evil itself.
Homura has become Madoka's polar
Yes,
opposite in that
yes.
sense. And Sayaka just flat out says, are you going to destroy this world then? And Homura just flat out says, maybe when all the wraiths are gone. Like, maybe when you've dealt with them all. Don't even bother trying to fight back. You can't stand up to me, Sayaka.
Yeah.
Like, you are, like, you shouldn't, like, already, like, you're going to succumb to this world. You're going to
she's
forget
like you
things. You're
can
not
come
meant to
fight me when
remember.
whatever. Whenever I'm like
Mm.
when I'm destroying the world, you can become my enemy then, basically.
Yeah, she's like, it seems fitting that I'll become your enemy, I
Yeah.
guess. And Sayaka sort of like stands there and like something starts affecting
Yeah.
her, and she starts forgetting
Yeah,
things.
and
And she's like, I can't remember. I was part of
Yeah.
something. I don't know why I'm here. And then Homer's just like, why don't you just go and enjoy your second
and
chance?
Sayaka's like
You'll forget about
yeah.
me. Things will be
yeah,
normal.
and Sayaka's like, I'm not gonna forget that you're a demon.
You're a
And
demon.
Homura
yeah,
yeah.
Homer's just like, let's pretend to be friendly until
yeah,
then.
Homura's like,
okay?
make sure that you're civil with me, because if you're confrontational, then Madoka might come to hate you.
Well, remember, she doesn't even say Madoka. She's just like,
Sure,
even
yeah.
she may come to dislike you. And it's like, oh, Homer has got this real twisted sense at the moment, and I kind of love it. Like, what's going on with Homura right now. And so we have Homura disappears, and Sayaka just sort of stands there for a second, and like, Kyosuke and Hitomi show up, and like, oh, hey, Sayaka. And Sayaka has like a tear forming in her eye, and she's about to crack. But then she sort of turns around and composes herself, and it's like, haha, hey guys, everything's fine. Like, let's go back to normal. Everything's fine.
Well, Sayaka's like, I didn't realize how happy it would make me to be able to say good morning to you guys again. Which is part of the reason of crying, too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we cut back to class, and we see Homura sitting at a desk looking out a window. And we see the teacher, who's like, hey, class, we have this brand new transfer student with us today. Please welcome Madoka. Everyone's like, oh, hey, a new transfer student. And Homura just sort of sits there at her desk with this jaded look on her, staring towards the front with, like, her hands against her chin as, like, the plan is in motion. Like, things are progressing as they should. Like, I'm in control now. And Madoka is wearing the yellow bows? She's not wearing her signature red bows. Like, this is so wrong. Oh, God. So wrong. And we kind of cut to a scene that mimics when Homura first met Madoka in the first episode. Homura, but it's even more twisted now. Homura goes up to Madoka, and before, in the first episode, there was a sense of, like, Homura was cold and efficient with the way she talked to Madoka, but now she's more detached and
she's more
sort of
it's like
more refined with her language.
And in a weird way, it's like she views Madoka more as an object. Like Madoka like belongs to
more
her.
as like a chess piece.
Yeah, Madoka belongs to her now.
Yeah, Madoka is absolutely her possession. And she just walks up to Madoka and says all the people talking to Madoka just goes, go away, like Madoka doesn't want you around, like you're going to make her sick. And then just says, Madoka, come with me.
Yeah, I'll show you around the school.
Yeah, I'll show you around the school. And then Madoka's like, why are you showing me around the school, Homura? And Homura just ignores her and says, like, how does it feel to be back? And like, how does it feel to be back here? And Madoka's just like, it feels... Because when they're like, oh, new transfer student, they're like, oh yeah, she was living in America for 3 years and then came back. And it's like, okay, that's why she's saying, like, how does it feel to be back? But also, Homura is also saying is in, the universe. But Madoka's just like, it feels weird, like, nostalgic, weirdly, but, like, things feel different and odd. Come to think of it, it feels like nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is me. And then the world around them sort of melts, in a sense, and you see the universe around Madoka, and Madoka sort of actualizes for a second, and her eyes sort of glow to, like, Godika's, and she sort of stares off into the distance and starts to glow, and she's like, this isn't me. Like, I'm meant to have a different role, like, in a different form. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I'm meant to be. Why am I like this? Like, why? What's going on? And it starts to sort of accelerate until Homura holds her and hugs her, pulling her back down to this reality, and just being like, you're exactly who you're meant to be, Madoka. Yeah. Like, this is who you're meant to be.
One of
you
the
don't
best
have to be more than
mirrors
this.
of the series.
And she then just goes, do you treasure this world, Madoka? And Madoka's just like, what? And Homura just goes, do you consider stability more important to it? Like, do you consider, like trying to understand why, like, does Madoka actually treasure this world?
Yeah, like, she's basically...
you approve of what I've done?
like, she's basically like, do you... Like, basically, she's like, would you willingly break the rules to make things, like, better for you?
Like, trying to justify through Madoka's sense of ethics and morality of, like, would Madoka actually approve of what I've done, in a sense? Like, it wouldn't really change things, but, like, she still, like, Madoka is hers, and, like, she's not going to change that, but it still matters to her, because she still loves Madoka. Yeah. And Madoka just goes, like, I think it's kind of bad to break the rules, just because you kind of feel like it. And Homura just instantly responds with, like, then I guess one day you two will be my enemy, but I guess I don't care, because what I really want is just a world where you'll be happy.
Yeah, she's like, I'll keep fighting for a world where you're happy. And while she's doing this, she's tying the red ribbons into Madoka's hair. She's taking them out of her hair.
Yep. And she's just like, wow, they really do look better on her, which confirms the theory that Homura is actually Madoka's mother, because Madoka's mother was like, the red one looks better on you, Madoka. That's what the next...
But, yeah, so, in that scene...
It's Madoka Magica 4, Big Mama's house.
So that scene, because we also saw, like, Madoka playing with Homura's hair in this movie, right? And Homura rejects what happens, whereas Madoka just kind of accepts it and lets Homura tie her hair. Which is... Yeah.
You have these two people not willing to accept the other person's control or help in their life. Like, Madoka wants to take everything on and not let others take on pain. You have Homura wanting to take on Madoka's pain and not, like, let Madoka suffer in any sort of way, and it leads to these complete polar opposite extremes. Like, with Madoka, it leads to this universe without Madoka existing. With Homura, it leads to this universe where everything exists for Madoka and for Homura to possess Madoka. And it's, like, these absolute extremes, which is why it's like, oh man, okay, so, like, I understand, like, people being like, oh, okay, so that's the end of it, and it's like, okay, that is an interesting end to Madoka, but then it's like, okay, there's a fourth movie, and I'm like, I am really interested in what
a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people who really like Rebellion really hate the idea of a fourth movie. We do need to talk about the post-credit scene still, though.
Before the post-credit scene, there's a really important thing, because we have, after Homura says, like, you'll be my enemy, and says that the bow looks better on her, she just sort of says that life goes on for them all, like, life's gonna go on for all of them, like, and I will be over it, looking through it all, through omnipresence, essentially. Like, Homura will be there, looking always to, like, make sure that things are going her way.
Yeah, and I like
which
that...
is stark contrast to Madoka being like, I'll be always looking over you to make sure you're happy. Homura's like, I'll be always looking over to make sure Madoka's happy. And that's the thing,
right? Madoka sacrificed all of herself, whereas Homura's being, like, very greedy. Because
very
Homura
selfish
is
right now.
Also,
she's sacrificing everyone for Madoka.
But not only that, but Homura is also physically in the world still.
Yes, which is definitely going to cause some problems.
So,
but you cut. So after they say that, you sort of cut to go towards the credits, but before that, you get a few frames of the god statue of Madoka, and then it goes to the credits, and it's like, oh, okay, this is, oh god.
Yeah.
And then we get the post-credit scene.
Yeah, so the post-credit scene is
oh god,
Homura is sitting on the white chair that you see that we talked about in the previous scene where Madoka fell off of it. Except for now, instead of another chair next to it, the hill is just cut in half perfectly, and Homura is leaning on nothing. And
everything is cut in half.
Everything.
Right
the moon
now
is cut in half, like everything is cut in half. And you hear music, a song that's been playing through the whole movie playing, and Homura hears Kyubey
running around.
She turns around and she starts dancing with her soul gem, and then you see a Kyubey that is beaten up and absolutely fucked up looking, laying in the grass.
Yeah,
and it zooms in on
not just
it zooms in on his eye, and his eye is shaky and animated and terrified, which never happens.
Which is great because it's like you zoom in on this Kyubey and without even saying anything, it tells you everything you need to know. It's like Kyubey finally understands.
And
like,
Kyubey is not in control of anything anymore. Like, because in this movie, it was like still kind of Kyubey in control, right? Like, he was controlling the labyrinth.
Still Kyubey in control of everything.
And then the last scene you get is Homura walking over to the edge of the hill where it's cut in half and literally falling off of it. So it's like her falling. And then the absolute final shot of the movie that you ever see is these windows that both combined, like, was the same windows that formed the city that we saw in the abstract sort of even
piece,
more
sort of
importantly,
representing the fact that like people were looking in. But more importantly, it's the window that Madoka keeps reaching through. And we see that window, and it is tied shut with the ribbons that were on Homura's witch's mouth. It's Homura literally caging Madoka so she cannot break free, because she does not want Homura to be in danger, so she's going to the extreme of like, I will protect you. Like, I will enforce that you cannot break free. Like, you are mine.
Man,
like, you will be safe with me.
So many people are so mad about a lot of people. The reason people hate Rebellion so much is because they feel like it ruined Homura's character, and I have to disagree 100%. I think this is
completely disagree.
Exactly what Homura needed to be.
It is because of the amount of like absolute trauma that she went through. This is exactly what she needed to do, because it's like all of that shit affects a person. You don't just drop that or get over it. It affects you.
And if you look at two of the biggest things that has influenced this, right, which is like the Bible and also Faust, it makes sense in both contexts, except for in Faust there's two different versions. One where the character, where Faust is taken to hell by Satan, and the other one where Gretchen saves Faust. So it's like, you don't know which one that's gonna be until Homura, like, grabs the fucking hands. But quite literally becomes Satan. And I mean, what Satan's role in the Bible, right, is that, he's the angel closest to God, and then pulls God from heaven. Like, it literally makes sense with her character. It makes sense in what like shit's based off of. Like, it just makes sense. If the ending would have just been Madoka taking Homura to heaven, it would have been like, okay, but like
it does not fit with this narrative.
Yeah, but
like, the idea of like Madoka just taking her to heaven. It's like, it would have, like, some people would have been like, that's perfect, that's great, they get to live in heaven as lesbians together. It's like,
but that doesn't work in this. Exactly.
Homura, it doesn't work.
And man, there's this.
She's consumed.
There's a big question of like, people always say like Homura did nothing wrong versus Homura did everything wrong, and it's like, man, there's a fine middle here. Like,
the problem is
Homura did
the entire point of Homura's character is she's tortured.
Yeah, Homura did the wrong things with the right intentions, right? So it's like,
yes, and now it's gone to the absolute extreme of that, where she's doing the wrong things for what started out as the right reasons, but now those reasons have become corrupted by her blind focus on Madoka.
Man.
So it's like, becoming the devil is absolutely the end point of that character for right
and I'm
now.
really hoping just for one more movie and then done. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
I honestly think, like, it is, like, especially after seeing the third one and, like, trying to think of, like, okay, how would it end this movie in a way where there's a fourth movie? And I'm like, okay, after the end of this one, I'm like, okay, one more movie makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the next movie, the next movie would be them, like, locking Satan up, essentially, for, what is it, like 100 years?
Trying to rein in Homura and
I mean, if we're going
bring back neutrality,
it's like if we're going 100% biblical, it would be them like locking Satan away for 100 years or whatever. So, which is funny because Homura had the 99 loops or whatever it was too. So I think that's how it goes. I can't remember. I have my friend explain a lot of the religious stuff to me because while I pick up on a lot of it, he's like studied religion extensively in college. So I'm always like, fill me in. You know, he's more of the that one.
Fill me in on that.
Yeah, like I pick up on a lot, but he picks up on a lot. So. And then, I don't know, man. It's so good. You need to rewatch this sometime now with the context of you're in Homura's labyrinth.
I really do.
There's so much. Like, there's this, first off, you realize that the Madoka in her world is obviously a Madoka that is affected by Homura's image of Madoka. Like, the real Madoka would be like, yes, of course I would sacrifice myself for everybody. So it's like Homura's getting a twisted perception of Madoka, right? And there's, like, little things, like, when Kyubey is, talking about Madoka, like, entering into the labyrinth, Homura goes, then it really is her, and it's, like, in that moment, it's not Homura being, like, okay, I'm obviously gonna protect her, it sounds like that, but really it's, like, I'm going to take Madoka. Like, the flower field is just her confirming what she wants to do already.
It's like setting in stone, like it's sort of like probing Madoka to get this, like, I know what I want to do, but, like, is it the right thing? And she takes Madoka's responses to basically the way she's phrasing it to Madoka, and takes her responses and goes, yes, it is the right thing. So, like this is how Madoka feels. Like, it's causing Madoka so much pain, so I have to do this.
God, it is so fucking good. Honestly, there's so much more I could talk about, and the fact that this is almost 3 hours, I'm not going to dive into some of this right now. Just like with different symbolisms and different, like, references and different things like that. Just because it's, like, stuff that is cool, but in the grand scheme doesn't really matter. So it's like...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Someday I'm sure I'll talk about it more. But not today.
Go spooky streams.
I do, and I'm planning on doing a very extensive stream where I talk about Madoka in extreme
detail. Sweet, a 48-hour stream.
Probably.
Yeah, go watch that stream.
No. Yeah.
My thing about it is, like, the entire time before we got to the movie, I remember you specifically saying people either loved the third movie or they hated it. Yeah. And then at the announcement of a fourth movie, people were either really fucking angry or really happy. And I'm kind of in the camp of, like, I really do love this movie, and I am really excited for a fourth movie. And it's like, Spooky, when does it come out, and can I fly over to America, and can we just go watch it?
Okay, Gamb, here's the thing. When it shows, since now anime films get, like, releases in normal theaters around here and stuff, there's one 2 minutes away from my apartment. And
oh my God.
I am not joking when I say I am buying at least 5 tickets to see this movie. Like, I am
one for you and 4
there.
for all your mommy
No,
figures.
like, I'm gonna go see it just a million times in a row. Like, I am not joking when I say the possibility of me walking into the theater, having them scan my ticket, watching the movie, leaving that theater, walking back out into the lobby, and having them scan a second ticket directly after isn't out of the realm of possibility. That might happen. So I am pumped. I'm really excited. So what'd you give the movie, Gamb? Right, score?
God. Okay. Here's the thing. I kind of have to give 2 scores right now. Because I need to rewatch this movie now to really figure out what my actual thoughts are on it. Because, like, I'm in 2 minds right now. I'm like, if I rewatch it and I'm, like, okay with that entire first act now, and, like, okay, yeah, I'm good with it. Like, with the context of everything, there's not a moment where I feel like, okay, this is dragging a bit. If I go back and watch it and I feel like, yep, it's all good, then I'd say a 10. If I go back and it's like, it still feels like it drags a bit for me, then it's like, creative-wise, it's a 10, but just for a personal level, purely because of the way that I watched it, it would be a 9. So it's like, I'm not so, it probably is a 10, but I'm like,
Okay. Cool. Got it.
But yeah, God, this...
Yeah. Dear?
This, yeah.
Yeah, 10, good to go. I'm having a good time vibing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that concludes...
Is there anything else you want to
Oh yeah, is there anything else?
No?
They're fucking great lesbians!
Mommy's cute.
God,
That's
so
what
good
matters.
lesbians.
I cry every time I watch the Sayaka and Kyoko confession scene. So.
I was
The
close.
soundtrack is great.
I legitimately was close.
I teared
like
up.
everything about it is
It's
just
so good.
so beautiful.
The soundtrack is great. If people say it isn't, and they can kiss my ass. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
I guess the only thing that I can think of is just that, like, I admit that I understand why Sayaka was my favorite character when I was younger for many, many reasons, and it's still hard to pick between her and Kyoko, even though I like Kyoko more.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Remember, at the end of this, they kind of fuse together to fight together, so you don't have to pick between them. They're the same now.
Yeah. Also, Deer and I are in the camp of we like Nagisa, and Gamb is a butthead who is like,
Okay, here's my thing. I'm kind of hyperbolic about it, and like, fuck Nagisa, fuck baby. But like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't really hate them. Like, the way I described it to Spooky, I don't know if we were recording at the time, but was like, I sort of like, the way I think about Bebe is like, if I rank all of the characters in Madoka, like out of the magical girls in Kyubey, like out of the 5 of them, Kyubey and Bebe / Nagisa, it's like, okay, it's really hard to sort of rank them all, except for Bebe, who's dead last. Like, that's how, it's like, I don't hate Bebe and Nagisa, but it's just like, the way they sort of like interact with the story in this one, I'm like, you're really right. You're basically solidifying in my mind that you're the Jar Jar Binks of Madoka, and I don't like that.
Me turning slowly to look at the wall scroll behind me that has Nagisa on it huge.
It's fine.
It's alright, Spooky. I'll tear it down.
It's mommy feeding Nagisa
It's fine,
cheesecake.
Spooky. We'll tie up fucking Gamb next time he tries to tear it down, and then we'll just throw a party and make him cosplayer.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say we'd like beat him to death, but that works too.
That too. We can do that after.
No, if you make me cosplayer, I'll want to do it myself.
Oh, free entertainment.
I'll want to beat myself to
free
death.
Entertainment. Just dress Gamb as Nagisa and have a baseball bet. Let's go.
It's like, if I... Oh my god. If I, like, see... Like, if Nagisa's in the 4th movie or whatever, and, like, I see more of them, then it's like, I might grow to be okay or even like them. But, like, it's just, from what I've experienced in this movie, I'm like, I could have done without you. Like, you're fine, but, like, specific moments, like, the whole... Like, over the last few days, I've grown to, like Bebe. But then, like, Nagisa as a character, I'm like, oh, come on. I just grew to like you, and now you're, like, doing things that make me don't like you even more. Sure. It's like, that scene with Kyoko and Sayaka is just so beautiful and flows so well, and then you have that moment of Nagisa going, I did it for cheese! And it's like, yeah, there's probably, like, a really depressing reason why they said that, but it's like, there was a beautiful moment there. It's like the equivalent of, like, while Sayaka and Kyoko hold their hands, like, Kyoko farts. It's like, you ruined the moment for a dumb joke.
Aw, I don't know. I think it fits. I think it's fine.
It's fine.
But anyway.
Whatever.
End of Madoka
That
May.
was all of... Yeah, it's all
Next
of May.
week-
May's over.
Next week we watch all of Fairy Tail.
Hell yeah!
It's funny because I could do a real big funny right now, but I'm not going to. Where I go. Okay, next week more Madoka with the side story.
Okay, next week we're going to do a time loop and go back to the beginning and watch Madoka all over again.
Yay for Madoka June. Let's go.
Madoka June.
Just you wait till
Madoka-
February, you fuckers.
I'm scared.
I'm coming for you.
Oh,
I'm
no.
coming for you.
Oh no.
I'm coming.
Oh.
Quick, we need to think of another anime that rhymes with February.
Fairy Tail doesn't rhyme with February though.
It's just
Well, fits it in an alliteration sort of way, because we have Madoka May and Dear Wants Fairy Tail February. We need to do something
Future
else.
Diary February, where we watch a fucking shitty show.
Futurama February. We're gonna watch Futurama in February.
What? Okay, that works too. Best
Alright, bye.
Bye.
See you next time for Futurama February.